All right, this is Peter and GB on the call. Little off sim podcast for us. Hopefully, it goes somewhat quickly. We'll see how that goes. Might have a call in or two during, and we're just going to be talking about just each team and their direction and how their farm looks and just general ideas of that. So, Peter, how are you?
Oh, I'm just fantastic. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm my baby's sleeping, and we'll see how long that goes until the grenade explodes, and then we'll see what happens after that. But anyways, so we just had a pod with some gentlemen that was all about the draft. So we're not going to take that long to it. Let's just quick overview. I'm sure you know more about it since you had picks, and I really didn't. So, what did you just think in general? A few main points.
Outside of and who's talking now? Is Marty taking over?
Marty is not talking currently, but he may jump in.
All right. So outside of the last round or two, it was a pretty damn good draft, I thought. Couple third basemen added back to the league. Um, There's a lot of good talent in the first two rounds. I thought it was a lot better than the last couple of years. I mean, we can talk about some specifics if you want to. I don't know if anyone caught your eye, even due to your lack of scouting.
Yeah, I mean, really, the guys that caught my eye were that outfielder that the Royals jumped up and everyone loved, Eric Young, I think,
Yep.
reincarnated. I was hoping that he would be in the mid first round because I was going to actually make a big crazy trade to get up in there. But I assumed what was happening happened, and it did. I thought it was a good. That guy caught my eye. I thought that pitcher you drafted, Rydell, he caught my eye. Just in general, I think his draft was a little better than the last few we've had. I feel like we haven't had a really good draft in 3 or 4 years. I know Jay and someone else was talking about the Chesty Taylor draft was pretty good, but since then I can't remember a really good draft. I guess we'll see, but nothing excited me a whole lot about it, honestly.
Yeah. The timing worked out pretty well for me because I was able to maneuver around a little bit, get some players I like.
Yes, you did. Oh shit.
The
Mm-hmm.
We can talk about right at the top of the draft. I don't know. I know we don't want to get too bogged down with the draft, but there was a little bit of hate on Grant Bagnall, the guy that went first overall to Oakland by the original draft pod crew. But as far as I'm concerned, I think Bagnall is probably a pretty damn good pick at the top of the draft.
Well, Marty, what did you think?
Overall, I thought the draft was just mediocre. There were some players in there that you really want to go for, like the pitcher that Peter got, some various other players. But as for third baseman there, I think he looks a lot like Karn. I think he does start out better and has a better peak to start out, but that kind of build it's just one of those they kind of need to peak really high, because if they kind of peak in about 88 to 90, they're just okay. And finding a third baseman that's just okay is not tough.
Yeah, I agree with that. I looked at Bangle. I mean, everything that Marty says, I'm pretty much in tune with. He better get, like, who was that third baseman for the Cubs? No, who was that?
Warner.
Warner. Like, that's what you're hoping for with these kind of guys, right? For the most part, and that happens once out of every 10 times, and then every other time it is like a Karn or worse. And they're just solid dudes. I mean, they're good players to have on your team, but they're not like, they're not difference makers.
Right. See, and that's why I think if you look at about any player in this file, if they peak out about 93 plus, they're going to be really, really good. There's very few players that peak out that high that are shit. So it's kind of like it's just that those kind of players you're open for like the best case scenario. So it's just I'm not very high on those kind of players.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's kind of a safe pick where it's most likely just going to be a solid player. Maybe Pete thinks differently on it. Either way, the draft was talked about forever. So we'll see how it goes down the road. We should have like pods where we talk about the draft that was like 4 years ago. That would be interesting, actually. We'll think about that later. But anyways, let's talk a little bit about just some of the teams right now, currently, how they're doing, and kind of what their fortunes are for now and then later. Let's get weird because I think everyone starts in the American League on these. Let's go with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Pete, have you looked at this or not, or do you want me to talk about it first?
I haven't looked at the Dodgers first, so feel free to kick it off.
All right. So obviously, SXR, Jesus, that's hard to say. He is rebuilding, tearing down. He made a big trade with Hokie, got Keon, the DH prospect. In terms of major league player or roster, he still has a good amount of pieces that he can trade off. I mean, obviously he's not looking to win right now, but he has talent that people would like. He has that second baseman, Leo Morin, one of the better second basemen probably out there. He is getting a little old, but I dig him. He has some other players that have high peaks that have a little bit of age to him, but if he accepts probably a little bit lighter of a return, he probably could move. Pitching wise, my boy DJ Troy is long reliever now. Not anything that you can really talk about. Kent Carney, he's a good player, but he's probably not going to get the return he's wanting on him as well. So major league wise, nothing much in terms of value. On the farm, he has a ton of high peak guys, which I'm sure Peter would love. In terms of their actual value, not the trade market. We're gonna have to wait a couple years to see how these guys are. I don't see any like slam dunk, just kind of scrolling through his farm, but he definitely has a lot of bullets to use, and I'm sure a lot of these guys will turn out pretty well. So, Pete, I've given you like 30 seconds or look at the Dodgers. What do you think?
You did a lot better than 30 seconds. I think you gave me about a whole 2 minutes. I'm feeling pretty good. I have a good grasp on what's going on here. It looked like he upped a couple guys to 2-year deals right after right there in the 2086 re-signings and Toby Davis and Leon Morin. So I think he's coming up on the time that he'd be eligible to move those guys. And he better hope that, he should be really hoping that he can come away with some pitching prospects out of those deals. Because he's in kind of a tough spot. He does have a couple nice offensive prospects, and Samuel Miller's a guy I like. He plays the outfield and looks like he could maybe play a little center, but probably more corner outfield. And like you said, Keon, the guy he got from Florida. So he's got some good bats hanging out, along with Nate Gentry at third base. I think his offensive side of the farm, he's got some nice pieces to look at. For the pitching side, I think he's pretty decrepit when it comes to that. He's really going to have to turn in some of his talent into some meaningful prospects there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He's just started his rebuild, so what is he, 30 and 39? He's probably going to get a top 15 pick, I would think, certainly. But yeah, there's no prospects that are just like that. Just hey, future piece that is going to be a long-term asset. And that certainly could change with jumps and everything, because a lot of these guys they got a couple jumps, and then you'll kind of see where they're going to be at. So really, he's started his rebuild. I mean, we'll see how it goes. The next couple of years is really going to tell his story. He's certainly not trying to win right now, even though he's in the NL West, which you never know. So, anything else to add on the Dodgers, Marty?
Have you looked at the? Oh, okay.
I pretty much agree with what you said. The only thing I would really, the only other point that I could bring up is it's almost like I think he's waited a bit too long to sell. A lot of these guys, a lot of his good players are on the wrong side of 30. So you're not going to get the return of what you would have got if they were 28, 29, and now you're looking at a lesser package back for them. So if your price is if his price is high, he's not going to get exactly what he wants. I don't.
Unless you're Joey Walsh, of course. Just saying.
People have it kind of random, but I think people are more keen on not giving up top-notch prospects for players who are 32, 35, etc. Minus, of course, the Joey Walsh. But I think people are getting a bit smarter on it.
Yeah, I agree. Did you have something else, Pete?
No, I'm good. But I mean, did you look at the prospect like Gentry on his third base guy or Sammy Miller?
I looked at Gentry. He looks kind of like the dude that just got drafted. I believe he just had a big jump because I remember him in the draft just a couple years. Maybe not as refined as an offensive game that but I looked at Miller. And I think he would be your best center fielder defensively in the last 2 decades. But I like his. I don't know, those guys with that kind of Sam Miller.
Miller's solid.
Do what?
Miller's solid. A good guy to put out in right. He's gonna have some power. Walk a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I just don't know. He doesn't like stand out to me one way. Maybe that changes, but let's get off the Dodgers. Jmaine is getting sick of this. Let's talk about everyone's favorite team, American Mike certainly, San Diego, Percival. For me, I would say that just in terms of where he's headed, he's kind of treading water. He doesn't really have that I know of. I mean, maybe he doesn't announce what he's doing. Who knows what he's thinking, but it doesn't look like he has a exact game plan of what he's or what he's trying to accomplish at the moment. Just in terms of looking at his major league roster, he has some pieces on the hitting side that are interesting. Simon Wickman, his leadoff hitter, who has a lot of nice vitals, has done a decent job, statistically, I suppose. I'm sure he could fetch something pretty good on the open market. Besides that, on the hitting side, I mean, he has a worn down Alberto Resendez that, still looks good, but, he probably should have been dealt 4 or 5 years ago. Everything else doesn't excite me that much. Pitching side, he does have some decent young talent. I do like his top 2 pitchers. They're, on the good side of 30, and they both have nice vitals. They both are really, have nice performances. That's something you could build on. Maybe he's just trying to get the hitting side up. His bullpen is completely horrible. I mean, this looks like a bullpen from, when he's not competing. It's just awful. I'm not really sure why that is, because the pitchers look okay, but he's just not. Maybe he's just unlucky right now. In terms of the farm system, he has a lot of specs. He has a lot of pitching. No one that stands out to me, prospect-wise. Joe Vogel would probably be the top guy for me. He's a fielder that looks like he's going to hit and be passable in the field. I could be easily missing somebody. Either of you guys have a thought on these guys?
I think Percy's had a pretty good balancing act in terms of his team building approach. He hasn't gone too hard one way or the other. It does seem like it's about time that he needs to consider moving Alberto Resendez or James Bird, because I think it's kind of obvious that it's not neither of those two guys is going to fit into his plans when the team does come around. I think Resendez would be a hell of an ad for a lot of these teams. I think that guy can still really hit. On terms of his prospect side, the reason why I say I think he's done a pretty good job is he's drafted in the last couple of years a catcher in Vlad Carrizzo, and a pitcher in Ariel Byrig. He drafted him in the first round, I think, 2 years ago. I mean, these guys have good builds. I think he has a decent eye for talent. I think what Percy needs to do is commit himself a little bit more to the 5-year plan. Move some of these older guys and just focus on that, because I don't see it happening in the next 2 or 3 years where Arizona is really dominating right now, and that's not going to change in the short term.
All right. I mean, good. Yeah, I think what you're saying with the 5 is true. So he does have the pieces to, especially with that top pitching he has, to make a quick turnaround in the next few years if he makes the right moves. Marty, your old team, what do you think?
Well, whoever drafted those his top 3 pitchers did a pretty damn good job.
Jesus.
No, but yeah, I think pretty much it's exactly what you guys said. Yeah, he has some pretty good players. I think they should be better than what the record is. But I will say the one thing with Resendez, what he told me, whether that's changed, he said that he plans on Resendez being a lifer. So we'll see if that is still a thing or not. But yeah, definitely if someone would want to add a bat, that would probably be a reasonable price. That would be a guy to get.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Percy is, has not been here very long, but he's not overwhelmed. I mean, pretty quick to notice throughout the league. A GM comes in that's new and he's overwhelmed, he just gets crushed. That's not happening with him, so that's a good deal. And he's just probably getting his feet with the file and trying to figure everything out. And he's doing a good job. So with that, we'll go to Colorado, the Fighting Cadmus. Pete, start us off.
Colorado certainly seems to be stuck in no man's land. Some of the high overall players that they have on the team, in Carlos Madrid on the hitting side, Eli Sims, the two Elis, Eli Sims and Eli Canini, they're just both not that great. I mean, Sims looks like he should be pretty good, but it hasn't shown up on the field yet. Eli Canini is just a disaster of a player. Carlos Madrid's never hit up to his potential. Colorado just has a lot of work to do. Obviously, they're building around their top prospect, Joe Sorley. He's obviously one of the top prospects in the game right now. He's damn good. I love their recent pick of Samuel Cabano. He was one of the top hitters coming out of this year's draft. Him and Sorley could be a hell of a DH first base combo come the future. But they're a lot of pieces away. Even some of the pitching prospects they have over on the looks like Double-A. They have Mario Collazo and Mark Harold. I think both those guys have some red flags going on that don't have me that crazy about their development.
All right. Well, I think Mark. Do we have him? All right.
Yeah, I'm here, but I think you keep cutting out, so I'm not hearing you.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I just don't think CAD has a lot of the really good prospects. He has some good players in the minors, some in the minors, some in the minors and some in the majors. But overall, it's not a full unit. So I don't know. He always seems whenever he wants to tear it down, he sort of does it, but doesn't like fully do it. So he's kind of left in purgatory where he's kind of putting up some wins, but he's kind of sort of getting prospects. So I think he really just needs to pick one. He probably has some prospects that maybe just because they have a high peak that he could probably trade off and get some pieces to actually maybe grab a wild card spot because they're not going to overtake the Diamondbacks right now.
Yeah, I've given up trying to figure out CAD because he makes these moves that just blow my mind. I'm like, what are you doing? And then I think like once every 5 years or so, he just ends up winning. Well, before Andy's Arizona, once every 5 years or so, he ends up winning the division, going decently into the playoffs. I mean, he's won a World Series against me. But he has his own deal, and it tends to work out decently for him. I mean, he's had success. In terms of his team, I mean, I'm not going to get crazy. I mean, I'm the last guy talking about it, but he doesn't have anything that blows you away on the major league side, on the farm. Yeah, I mean, he has some decent prospects, some big time guys. I think that first baseman Cubano looks like he jumped already. Maybe not, but
I don't think so. I think that's what he was on draft day.
He was at 65-95.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, I mean, he looks pretty good too. But
he was.
All right. Well, then I'm dumb. But yeah, I mean, I don't ever understand how he does this thing, but somehow in 2 years he's gonna like win the division and go to the NLCS, and who knows what's gonna happen. Even with Max Teo on this. All right. So with Colorado gone, we got the Fighting Hicks, San Francisco. I'm gonna go make a drink. So Marty, get after it.
Oh, good. This is my first time looking at his minors. So the first guy I see, Alex Malenza. I did like him in that draft. I was looking at him for a while. I like him. Other than that, on the pitching side, I don't know. The names don't stand out for something that I was previously looking at. So there's that. On the positional side,
what in the world is this noise? What is going on?
Just to be much of anything. His center fielder, Mark Matt, he's pretty good. He did have some pretty good picks there in the last few years. Not understanding what's going on with Bookman being on the bench. If you're a top prospect, either play him or just put him down in AAA and let them play every day so they can at least give you some stats so you can see what they might be about. But so yeah, I'm not really sure what he's doing. He's just doing.
You know, I think that I'm gonna assume that he missed last sim, the update, just because he has Caparza the center or the catcher, which is kind of odd. You either want him probably on the farm in AAA or you want him up playing, getting at bats. He said that in the chat a couple days ago that he is starting to come out of his rebuild, starting to want to compete. He does actually have some, hitting wise, he has some pieces. If he can just really some things like his shortstop, Ed Santos, Jesus, I mean, that's like someone that Stang has on his team as a shortstop when he's trying to lose 120 games. I mean, that guy's terrible. And some other things.
Well, 75 range is average.
Yes, maybe. So some of his spots, catcher. I mean, he has some places that could really upgrade on pretty easily. Maybe he just he's not going to be winning this year, but next year, the year after, Pitching side looks awful, completely terrible. Looks pretty awful in all senses of the word. He has some guys down on the farm, but they're not going to help him within the next 2 to 3 years, most likely. So it looks like he's just going to have to put a lot of his money and trades into acquiring pitching because there is nothing there at the moment. Pete, what are you thinking?
All right, so I guess I'm going to be a little bit more optimistic than you two. I guess that's not too hard right now. I think Brad's done a better job drafting than I remember a couple years back. He's got a lot of sort of generic looking prospects just based on their overall and peak. I think some of these guys are going to have some room to grow. What in the world is going on? Are you okay? Everybody alive?
Well, he was out in Kansas or something, so maybe there's a tornado.
What happened?
It sounded like something just whipped through his house, but yeah, like Marty mentioned, his top prospect on the pitching side is definitely Alex Malenza. He's gonna be a good pitcher when he comes around. Definitely no stud pitchers outside of him, but I think he's gonna come up with some useful guys out of his cluster of 70-something peaks that are going to jump up and be pretty decent. I did like his recent pick of the outfield, Justin Carey, 16-year-old. He just got picked 8th overall. I think that guy's going to be a pretty good corner outfield bat when it's all said and done. He's got a ton of time to progress. Obviously, that'll be up to the mogul gods, but I think it'll probably go pretty well for him. And like you guys already mentioned, he needs to figure out his bench. Those guys should probably just be playing in a. Brad should have those guys up based on where his team is. Just let those guys get their rookie blues out of the way. Just play them. Let them figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like you can hear everything on my microphone. Is that true? Like things are happening.
Yeah, lots of things are happening.
I just went and picked up the kid. I don't know how that sounds crazy. He's just chilling.
The dog.
The dogs are just laying on their beds.
It sounded like there was an avalanche. That's what it sounded like.
I mean, I'm next to the ice maker that randomly.
Okay, that's what it was.
I mean, that could be a thing. I don't know what to tell you.
You have a loud ice maker.
We do. That sucks. But we got over it, so it's okay. All right. God damn, we're taking a long time. Arizona. Arizona's obvious. You know, Ren has taken over from Andy and doing a good job. I think they won 2 or 3 World Series in a row, something like that. Their freaking major league hitting is insane. They got like 5 dudes that are like could be the best at their position in the file, possibly, or right up there. Their pitching staff kind of like makes me think that they can be beatable. Like, it doesn't really impress me that much. I know that Brian Taylor's having a really good year. Actually, he's been awesome this whole time. I don't know how. Did he drop? He did drop. I guess he's just Tom Glavine. I don't know. But I guess their top 2 guys are pretty good, but it doesn't make me think that they can just run through like they have in the last few years. A little homer prone here and there. Yeah, I mean, their farm system makes me think that this run's going to end, next 2 or 3 years because they don't really have anything in the farm. But their hitting is just insane. So with that, and my ice maker not making, what do you think?
Yeah, I pretty much think that they're still primed for a few more years. He could always try and trade some of those picks for likely some pitching because the hitting's probably going to be there for a while. Other than that, yeah, pretty much the team is all in the majors. There might be a few prospects that we're overlooking here and there. Oh, Brookshire, yeah. Looks pretty good. I think I would kind of be hesitant for his health. So he's going to be hurt a lot, or even if he's not hurt a lot, he's going to be the guy that will probably only start in about 130 games versus a guy who had good health would start in 145, 150 games. So there's a prospect to highlight.
He kind of sucks.
Yeah.
But anyways, Pete, what do you think?
75 range is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about Arizona. This is their division for the next 4 or 5 years if this team stays together and he does nothing. That's just how good their offensive side is. They're pitching between Dalzell, Kittykawa, and Taylor. They're good for a little while. Ross really needs to sort of settle in and focus on keeping this thing rolling. So if he doesn't get any young pitching prospects to take over the reins as some of these guys start to drop off and become more average, then it's not going to keep up. He's going to be a beatable team. I don't know how he gets there. Maybe he pawns off one of the bats to become a more sustainable long-term team. But the way it's headed right now it looks like he's just going to go until it's total crap and then go from there. And by that time, it's just going to be a pretty sad situation there.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead.
I will add, I think his trade with Houston might set him back a while. What he got back, I don't think is all that great. I don't think they're really good players in this file. They might be good in general mobile file, but in our file, both of those positions, first base, you got Janke and Whiteside, first base, and DH/outfield. Both of those positions are more power positions here. Not hard to find a guy who can put up some dingers there. These guys just overall probably aren't that great. They're okay enough, but nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I agree that trade doesn't look so hot.
It'd be fascinating if he just put someone like Miranda out there and just see, hey, can I get a top-notch pitcher that's 20-something years old and try to balance this thing out? It'd be fascinating to see if he could do that.
Yeah, I think his two little kids and he has no time. My guess, and baseball with what he does, he's probably pretty busy at the moment.
Well,
real life sometimes.
So get with
What'd
it.
you say?
Well, it's FCM or die, so get with it.
Good point.
That's right.
Pete, get the shirts out.
FCM or die.
Okay. So just in a nutshell, this will probably be the longest we spent on it. Christ. In a nutshell, it's Arizona's division, and then we got a lot of dudes that are just kind of. I mean, is that fair, or do you see who's the team that would come up and challenge Arizona or take over in the next 3-4 years? I don't know.
San Diego's the one that's primed most, I would say.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I don't know.
Probably Pittsburgh.
Who?
Pittsburgh.
Stop it. Jesus.
I mean,
all right.
We're gonna hit like 800 home runs this season.
It's not in the same division. Get out of here. Your shenanigans.
They're going to win so much that they're going to win the West too.
So we're going with that division. Central. If Jmaine wants to get on here, we can talk a little bit. If he's interested. If not, that's fine too. But we'll start with the Cardinals. GD, who's been there for about 120 years. A lot of guys probably don't know this, but a stretch that he was by far the best team for 15 years or so. I mean, he was killing it.
He dominated for a while. He
dominated 100-win seasons. Got to the World Series a lot. Lost them like me a lot. Won a couple. But he was I got on right around when he was top GMs in the league. And maybe he just got busy or just doesn't care as much. I'm assuming both of those are what happened. But he's just been kind of doing nothing the last forever. He does have some top end hitting, just like always. He, 1 through 4. And it looks pretty strong now, even though they're not hitting as well as they probably should. And then his bottom half looks like a dumpster fire in hitting. His pitching is not there yet. They're young, probably a couple years away from doing anything. His close, one of the top closers in baseball. But he's not the type of cat that's going to make the moves to really get where he needs to be, probably, unless he just has everything on. That's not the case. Even though his farm looks okay, nothing great by any means. So it's pretty status quo for GD right now. Pete, what are you thinking?
Yeah, the shine has really worn off Ruben as the years have gone along. Like you said, for that 15, 20-year stretch, he was among the top GMs. Even then, he wasn't active around the chat or anything. He just put in his lineup, made 6 invalid draft picks before he settled on a guy. He got them. They turned into a star, and the ball kept rolling. He had this thing where he was picking up dominant power pitchers, and it's faded. He hasn't hit on those guys, and he doesn't maneuver any asset at all. Basically, he's a very picky trader when he does, and the trades just seem to come out of left field when he does trade. So, I mean, there's not much to be said. I mean, he's stuck in the purgatory unless he wakes up.
He's stuck in the purgatory unless he. It's a very matter of fact. I don't know. Yeah. All right, we're gonna skip you because we're going for time, Marty. Sorry, and everything's been said about St. Louis. Anyways, Chicago. They look terrible. Like, I was going through them a little bit pre-pod, and I don't know how they are 33 and 36, and they even have a better Pythag. They might have like the worst roster, major league roster, minus Atlanta, in the file. Like, it's terrible. I can't explain it. His farm system looks decent.
He has some
Dana Brinker, a left fielder, looks like he could be really, really down the road, like elite. Still not sold on Robert Rush, especially with not being able to switch him positions these days. But he has some like pretty high-end hitting prospects, and he has a lot of them. Pitching-wise, he has a lot. Alexander is a relief pitcher prospect that I did not know about until I started looking at this file. And he is, if he goes up to a 92 or so, whatever he is, he's going to be one of the better ones we've had in a while, I think. He might have some home run issues, which could be, his bugaboo, but he looks pretty fancy. And somehow he's a late third-round pick. So kudos to Jason for that, cat. He has some other guys, but I'll let you guys talk about it because I have to let the dogs out. So do your thing.
All right. Well, I'll go for a little bit here. Like you said, Chicago's in a really tough spot. It is kind of amazing that they're exceeding St. Louis right now. They have a tough road ahead of them. Their prospects aren't close. I mean, they have some prospects left over from some of the Andy drafts, and I mean, there's some good guys mixed in there. I'm a big fan of the third baseman, Lou Elworthy, switch hitter, 80-something power, 80-something eye. No contact right now, but if he can get that up to even 70, he's gonna be a good hitter, and there's no question about the defense for Lou Elworthy. He's gonna be a good player if he gets the right jumps. He'll be damn valuable too. I mean, this is a good prospect mix everywhere here, but for me, they're not close. I think some of these guys are 2 or 3 years away from getting their opportunity just to go through their terrible rookie season, like everybody seems to in the mogul file. Yeah, I mean, Chicago just has a long road ahead of them.
Yeah, and their farm does look has a lot of potential and at least a lot of trade value at the worst. But I see Norm Yancey is doing well in the Tiger favorite from days gone by. Marty, we haven't heard from you. What do you think?
Yeah, pretty much what Peter said. He's got some work to do. I do think the pitching is quite almost impressive, at least what's in the minors. Who was it? Nori. I really like him. He was a guy that, if you remember, probably when I did my draft grades that year, or I might even said it in the chat, that I was not really high on him, and that was simply because he didn't seem to have a lot of time to grow on draft day. But since he didn't drop very much when he aged, he actually does. And he's a guy that kind of reminds me of Dana Pelota. So I think he could be a very good pitcher. One guy that I just saw that I think could be real interesting. I do not like the build at all, but Caleb Navarro. Since I'm looking at his stats as an amateur, none of the years show as a high homer season. So I'm real interested to see when he peaks out, what he looks like, than what he actually does in the majors. And then he has a couple other pitchers in there that are pretty good. So I think this is something where whatever he has at the major league level, he just keeps on selling it off until those guys are ready. He could have something pretty good there.
Yeah, I think Navarro too. If he really pans out, man. Which I never look at Cubs prospects. I don't know. I just don't trade with Jim usually. But he does have some really good prospects, high-end guys, and a large volume of prospects as well. So it's interesting. Well, if he has some time and he gets active, god damn. Here's a random note for you about the 90 overall guys that are usually good. Evan Bear is 92 overall, fourth starting pitcher. How the hell is he 92 overall?
It's amazing.
Oh, hell. Think
because
about
his bunting is 94?
Because his 4. I guess his health is 92 as well. Jesus. Anyways, I don't know. I think we got Jmaine on the
I think so.
pod. I heard your silky smooth voice right there.
Yeah, we good. We good.
It's very erotic. So, and speaking of erotic and Jmaine, we got the Pirates up next. So, I know you guys have a thing with each other.
Yeah.
You know what? Since we have a lot of cats on here, I won't even talk about them. I'll let you guys, do your thing with Pittsburgh. Who wants to start?
Well, I was gonna say, going back, I think Brian Norrie is probably one of the best prospects in the league right now. I think Matty should have taken him second overall that draft. I know you didn't like him, but I think Norrie's gonna be probably the top guy.
Who's this guy?
Exactly. If I knew he was only going to drop like 2 and he aged, I would have taken him.
I mean, there's no knowing, obviously, but
yeah, there is the age before the draft.
Anyway, Pittsburgh. What are we on, Pittsburgh?
Oh, that guy. Yeah, Pittsburgh. Your boy, Gilly. What do you think?
He's in a good spot. The only thing is, he's got to figure out what to do with that defense. I've been trying to tell him that the defense really matters, and his infield defense is what's shooting him in the foot right now. Yeah, he's got power all around, but with the spotty defense, it's going to show in the run differential. And I mean, it makes a difference. Like, if he had a Gold Glove infield, he would probably shed, 30 to 40 runs right now, which would propel him to first place. And that's it. Other than that, he needs elite pitching, but everyone needs that. Anyone else out there?
I just got back. I let the dogs in. I'm going to talk with everyone. I agree, man. I think Gilly just wants to hit a lot of home runs, no matter what, and talk about his offense and talk about his lack of pitching. That's pretty much the gist, because I think it's been pretty proven that you need good defense, especially in the middle of the infield, to really win And it's a lot better, I think, at least to have a below average offensive player if you're going to have an elite defender in certain spots instead of an above average offensive player and a below average defender. You know, that's just kind of my thought on it. Maybe I'm wrong, but he just likes hitting bombs. So
Yeah.
what do you do? It's like Peter, kind of. But
Yeah, and the other thing is, I think they're overachieving, but the bullpen has been a bugaboo for him. But it seems like their stats are actually looking pretty good. I don't think his pitching is all that bad. I've always kind of flagged the defense and saying, well, you know, I don't think they can go far because you're probably booting too many balls. Not booting, but like
not getting to.
Just not. No, but I do think Pittsburgh's in a good spot right now. They do have some prospects, maybe not as many on the pitching side because they did some trades lately. I don't see anyone coming up soon, but it's definitely some guys talented.
Pete,
nothing over the top.
You're very level-headed there. I don't appreciate that much. Hoping for a hot take or two, but whatever, you know. Pete, give me something like good.
It's pretty funny. Like, we're like in the Gilly cycle. Like, when he made that bet, the 10-year World Series bet that he was going to win 2 in that stretch, like, this is the team he was building towards. He's got, like, all of his core guys are up in the majors now. And, like, this is what he was imagining, and it's not working. Like, he's still just floating in the middle. Like, 20 years ago, he cried Dynasty. Like, now he cried 2 World Series, and none of it's working. Like, the writing's on the wall.
I mean, to defend him
and just go for a fresh start, like that, it's so obvious.
To defend him, he was probably like 15 drinks deep when he said that bet.
Doesn't matter. He posted it.
Yeah, no, that's right. You can't take it back. But yeah, Peter's right. Like, he's selling out right now. It's like, this is the team. There's nothing more you could really do, unless I mean, if he wants to get that. If he wants to get that top tier pitcher, he has 2 options. One, he could pull an Avallanos and spend $1 billion for 7 years. Whoa.
Oh no.
Or keep going.
Or you move, you know, he wouldn't like to hear this, but you gotta move your top cat in order to get either 1 elite pitcher or 2 very good ones.
Just to throw something fun into the bucket right now, we Gilly and I talked about a Jeremy Wilson deal at least the past offseason. We might have talked about it prior to that as well. But Jeremy Wilson, the way he's pitching, would be huge for the Pirates. I mean, that 1 extra elite arm, it could be the difference between them making the playoffs and not, and really sort of cementing themselves in a good playoff position.
I think he was at a point. I think it was at a point where he didn't want to trade any more assets. He's kind of spent it all.
Yeah, he got into the mindset, and it's a good mindset of wanting to build something that you can continuously upkeep, and you're not just playing for this 5-year window and then tearing it down. I mean, I don't fuck with the 5-year window thing, and he doesn't want to either. But his team is also in a spot like. I want to say when we were talking about a Wilson deal, I was asking him for Homer Hennessy, the shortstop, and the catcher Justin McIlvaine. I want to say McIlvaine.
McIlvaine.
Yeah, like that type of deal for him would be huge, and now he's kind of stuck in this. I mean, he could win the division, but personally, I don't think he'll take over Milwaukee. I think your team is just a more talented team.
I think he has a better shot than he had last year. My offense is it's pure shit. So I think with the amount of runs that he could score, he has a chance. I don't think he will. I think I will win the division, but my team's not bulletproof by any means.
Look at your top 4 pitchers. Like, your top 4 pitchers would be an ace for him. Like,
right.
Your top 4 pitchers are giving you.
We're also playing different styles. I'm playing a pitching defense. He's playing.
Pittsburgh can be beaten any night.
Right, but he could also outscore. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's just we just have different styles right now. Like I'm doing the pitching defense and trying to find hope in Lance Caulfield and Theo Kibler, and he's doing the opposite with MVPs on the offense and trying to figure out, for 9 innings, pitching wise.
Yeah, I mean, his offense is great, but he just needs more consistent pitching. Like
his offense is great, but it's not best show on turf. Let's just throw it out there.
Yeah.
It's a very good offense. Yeah, it's not elite by any means. If you're going to have a pitching like that with that defense, you need an elite offense, and I mean, it's not there.
Yeah, the elite offense is in Arizona.
Yeah, I think the big thing with his team and making that big bet is he does have a lot of power in his lineup, but a lot of those bats are feast or famine. So once you get to the playoffs, if those guys aren't hitting homers, your offense is complete shit. And that seemed to be a lot of what my Rockies teams were. They do really well during the regular season, then you get the playoffs, and they don't touch a baseball at all, and you just wonder what the hell. And if you're going up against a pitcher who doesn't give up many homers, that team is probably worth it.
Yeah.
Agreed. We've spent way too much time.
Yeah. He'll give a listen, and he'll be upset.
But I mean, has a competing team. Can't hate it. We got Theo, who is my vote for the annual TT award for most improved GM. His Reds, they're actually above Pittsburgh right now by half a game. He has a ton of pieces. He has Maynard's boy, Mr. Engelbrecht, who he just got rid of. It's still kind of makes me sad. But he has a lot of good pieces on offense. He has a top 3 too, pitching. Oh, my boy just burped, so Fred, be happy. But I don't think he has the pieces to really beat on the higher end of the NL. He might sneak a wild card in because I don't know if the wild card is that good in the NL currently. But for me, he's had money issues lately, and I think he's just trying to float above that at the moment, and then maybe look to compete in the next couple of years. I mean, that with Milwaukee for DeJuan Davis, one of his middle hitters. So I think he's just trying to float right now and try to make a couple moves in the next couple of years to compete again. So
I think the DeJuan Davis deal, I think that could spark the start of a kind of a bigger picture whirlwind of trades for him. I don't think he's really going to do it, but we talk about the window of trade. I think I brought it up in chat yesterday about the Yankees kind of missed that window of kind of reloading. Dodgers missed it, but Cincy has a good opportunity right now to move guys like Botts, Dean, Carreras, Cooper. Hell, you can squeeze anything out of Engelbrecht right now. I mean, he's not as good as he once was, but these are guys you can get prime value if you trade them now, because they're not going to win a World Series with this team. They don't have the money. So you got to move all these guys. You got to do it now.
Part of the problem with that, though, is you look at what Atlanta did 2 or 3 years ago. Who's paying? No one pays in this league. Coming
That's
up
right.
with deal after deal of someone paying is incredibly hard in this league. For Theo, he might be better off just continuing down this road. And I want to jump off the DeJuan Davis deal first. Fascinating. I was talking to him about DeJuan Davis taking him as a salary dump at one point, and him giving me something back in return to recuperate that, because he wanted him gone so bad because his finances were in such a bad spot. So that deal that you made with him, Bobby, I thought that was number one, it was interesting, but number two, I'm surprised he was able to get anything for him.
The funny thing is, and I told him, I said I regret not making a bid for him. And yeah, so I gave him whatever compensation it was. It's probably greater than any draft pick he had, but you know, it was kind of right my own wrong. But yeah, I was a low risk move for me too.
It's a sunk cost, though. I mean,
Yeah.
So I mean, I get it. You don't want to be, you want to not be in that position, but if it gets you where you want to be. So Reds are interesting. Like I think they could sneak out some wild cards in the next couple of years, which isn't a terrible thing by any means. They have top end talent. It just makes a lot of teams, like for me, a lot of teams have these, and then their last 4 guys or 3 guys in their lineup are just shit. And like, if they're gonna be shit, at least be good shit but elite defensively. I mean, provide some kind of value for your squad. Don't be average on both sides of the ball, and that hurts people a lot, I think. I mean, just to make a couple moves, and then usually those kind of guys make those moves, and I mean, I think you win 5 or 10 more games a season. And a lot of teams have that same deal where their bottom 3 or 4 might be slightly above average hitting or average, and then just not good defensively. So I think I see that with the Reds too. But go ahead.
Yeah, his offense is all or nothing. From guy to guy, they're either bringing a lot to the table, or basically nothing.
Yeah. All right, Theo. And sorry, just last thing. Going back to what Peter said about you need more winning teams in order to have a good selling. Be in a good selling position, or at least for a full fire sale. I mean, you got to think about who's going to be around to be a suitor. To be Philadelphia, maybe. Texas.
They don't trade though.
Yeah,
so
Texas has no more assets. Minnesota's no more assets. And that's it.
Kabusi.
What? It's Kabusi. Stop it.
Kabusi.
We'll get to that. That's in 3.5 hours. We'll get to that. But
that's for the second half.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's a whole nother discussion.
All right,
it is hard to trade in this league right now. But
let's get to the Brewers.
Let's get to the Brewers. I want to hear Marty's thoughts about this while I feed my baby.
About the Brewers or the Reds or
the Brewers? Milwaukee.
You know what's happening.
Milwaukee. Talk.
Brewers. Well, there's probably a lot of prospects that Jmaine had high hopes for that when we realized that they're just what they are. They're just okay. Yeah, there's probably a lot of that. Justin McNamara, you probably took him first overall. Oh, 4th round, okay.
160th overall, actually. If you got another 1 and a 6.
I just figured with the peak and the speed, that looks like a guy you took first overall. There's some talent there. Got the Dave Van Buren man. He's looking pretty solid. The Withicum, he is decent. Might make a good long man.
Jesus.
This pod has really taken a step back in the last 5 minutes.
But hey, Dave will now. Now he is a guy who could be a good short reliever. But there's some good talent there. Good talent in the majors. Good talent in the minors. He's got to keep at it. He's got the West Brewman, which is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Just stay patient. Stay patient with him. At least he fields. He's no Jeremy Tarbox.
I know. He does not have that elite 75 range. No, but there's some talent there. Obviously, Jmaine knows how to draft. He's not afraid to take some risks, even when it just blows up in his face.
I've had a lot of
those. When they work out, or even when he still reaches in the later round, and they do become solid enough, there's enough there. There's enough there for the future to do his thing. And quite sure that he'll still make a move in the future. He'll sell off a draft class, or at least part of a draft class, to get whatever he needs to make it all working. Yeah, they're in a good spot overall in the Central. I don't think there's another team that really pushes them. I know Billy would really like to think the Pirates will. But like I said, their offense is kind of built on that feast and famine thing, and pitching is just not bad. But so the Brewers are probably the class of the Central for a handful of more years, unless there's a team that I'm forgetting about.
Well, after that glowing, I think I love the team. I just love the setup of the team. I think a lot is lost in roster makeup. People just kind of throw guys into spots with vitals and think it's going to work out. But the pitching is young-ish and more on the way. I think Withicum pitching prospects in the game. With Chesty Taylor and these other dudes, Maynard's going to have a really competitive team for another decade at least. And with hitting, you can always patch things together. It is not looking great right now, but a lot of these dudes have track records. They are getting old, but, I mean, it's fine. As long as you have that elite defense, pitching, and you got guys that can produce, not worried about it. I think that they're looking pretty good for the next 10 years, even if Maynard isn't there, then we've heard rumors, just saying. But Pete.
Milwaukee.
Yes.
Yes. The Milwaukee's they're top four. They're top four in their rotation. It might be the best in the league. I know your staff in Detroit would certainly have an argument with that, but those two teams are among the top 3, 4, or 5 rotations in the entire league. I don't see another Central team being able to compete with that in the short term. These guys aren't old. They're not going anywhere for the short term. Their offense is talented, fairly young. A couple 30-year-old guys. Their oldest guys are 33, 34. Those guys seem to have a decent amount of longevity. I think even as old dudes will be competing for another couple of years and be a strong offense. Milwaukee's here for a while.
Jmaine, what do you think about your own team?
I think they're the best ever. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, you guys are spot on about the assessment on the rotation and the offense. And I'll just tell you, my outlook on the offensive side, I actually go defense first. And if they're a plus that's just a bonus. But I try to stick to a kind of a certain standard for each position, I guess. So
what in the world is Jeff Dawkins doing at second base? And what the hell is going on at Matt's house?
The dogs came in. God, Mike.
Holy shit!
I must just have a really good.
You have a really sensitive mic. I
guess so. Jesus. I mean, you can hear every goddamn thing. Anyways.
Yeah, I was just saying, I go defense first, and if I could find guys who are a little bit more affordable, that's fine. And I feel like defense is a little sustainable. So a guy like Zach Stutter, he'll probably be my third baseman for 8 years, and I don't even know what the hell the price would be. But I won't worry about that position unless it's sitting there right in front of me. Stutter's gonna be the guy at third base. Rumen, even if he doesn't hit, it's gonna be the guy at shortstop.
So what you're saying is it's time to move on from Jeff Dawkins. That's what you're getting at.
No, I'm platooning him. So Danny, he still has a lot of value. So, yeah, no, I'll platoon him. So
Dawkins?
I don't get it. Why are you playing Dawkins over Sodani? I don't understand.
Well, why not?
I don't either. I don't know.
Because Sodani's a lot better? I don't get it.
Well, next sim, well, first of all, I fucked up the platoon. I was supposed to put Dawkins versus lefties and Sadai versus righties. I think I screwed that up. But I want to see what Dawkins made of. So I was saying if he could bat 250 and steal 100 bags, go for it. But right now he's struggling. So that's that.
Well, just to wrap this, I think Maynard, you would be the best guy to kind of say, what do you think the next 5-year kind of thing? I mean, you're the who challenges you in the next couple?
Chicago's probably in the best shape of all the teams. I'm
For the
saying
future.
for the future. Yeah. Chicago.
Okay.
And I've said that before. Like when I won that World Series, I sold off because I knew they were coming.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
We all hate that enough.
I'm buying stock. It's to the Cubs.
All right. I mean, I think Gilly has drove us all to dislike your division, but I hope you do okay, I guess.
Gilly brings a
Hopefully
lot of
Marty
entertainment. It's fun. It's fun going back and forth with Gilly.
Gilly's a character. Very short one. Anyways, Atlanta. This is the division that spawns all kinds of treachery and upset, sad thoughts. Lots of tanking, lots of Peter talk. I mean, none of it good, really. And we have Atlanta right here, who has roster because they're in their little downswing that they do. He has some high peak pitching right now, and some actually decent pitching. Some, it's not bad, but I mean they're total rebuild. Again, there's no tanking involved in this lineup at all, but they have a ton of top end prospects right now, like a team full of top end prospects. So Stang has plenty of room to keep his guys that he wants in his positions and then trade off for things he's lacking. Hopefully you can't hear the baby. He's very happy. But you can? Nice. All right. Well, that's going to continue. My bad. But yeah, I think he's in a good spot for the future. I mean, I'm digging it. So I don't dig his style, but I dig that his future is pretty great. What do you guys? Pete, what do you think about your nemesis?
I'm closest to it. So I'm just gonna rip into him because that's gonna be more fun than anything.
Do it.
So you say there's pitching. I say there isn't. Last go around, he had really elite pitchers coming up with Jeremy Wilson, Zuniga. He had a couple other guys that really came through the system and really were dominant pitchers, and he had that 4 or 5 man combination that really shut a lot of teams down. I look at his minors, I don't see that. He dealt off a lot of his pieces at what felt like 50% value just to do it in one season. He really rushed into he really made a snap decision and just decided to dump everything and really just, rather than taking the right offer, he took the best offer, and taking the best offer in FCM typically screws yourself. So I don't see a ton that I like on the pitching side. Offensively, he's got a couple nicer bats, whether you're looking at Shimizu or Wes Daniels, pretty good. Hiram Verneset is also a pretty good outfielder. In terms of the majors, he's got nothing going on. It's probably the worst. Between him and Chicago, it's just the worst major league roster in the league. Some of these guys with high overalls, even on the pitching side, are some of the worst pitchers in the entire league. Jermaine Montalvo, for example, he's just pretty horrible. He might as well be a 79 overall.
Yeah, but Pete, you could trade that guy in half a draft class.
I couldn't trade that guy.
You've gained a little shine.
Who is this guy?
lately. His Atlanta's pitching prospects.
Oh,
What? It doesn't matter which one.
are you saying to flip him?
Yes, because they don't look they're world beaters by any means, but there's some that have some things to like. I would say I like Arenado a good bit. I mean, his endurance is a little bit flag, but there's a lot of things to like about Arenado. I'd say it's
Arenado is a home run risk. I think he's gonna give up a lot of long balls.
Red flag. Yep.
It's oh my god, those things can go either way. But I don't know. Hey, you guys talk. I have to deal with this shit.
Yep. Whoa.
Wow.
GB, you gotta learn how to mute your mic. This is gonna be an adventure. When I get the the audio. Oh my! I can't even hear myself.
Oh my god!
Is it terrible?
Yeah.
Did I just mute him? Yes, I just muted myself.
We just need to next me completely.
Wow, it's a lot quiet now. Holy shit!
Wait, Jay,
They ran off. They got their treats.
Yeah, I'll just buff it out and post. No big deal. For free.
Cool.
Yeah, of course.
No, Arredondo sucks.
Yes,
He's
I'm with that.
Poblano reincarnated. Don't know who that is? Just go look up in your retired players shit, and you'll see the monstrosity that he was. I think that's exactly what he is. Staying, come on, you're playing fucking Justin Tarbox, whoever the fuck you're playing at shortstop now.
He's not.
That was last year.
Okay, well, whatever. Come on. He says like 80 something range is still not good at shortstop in FCM.
That guy's fine. You get out of here with your.
I'll give you my less hate take on him.
Shimizu sucks too.
I don't think that Staying is in the greatest position, even as a rebuilding team. Like when you see all these guys, these generic bats kind of come up, Moss, Philip Jones, Rich Keene, Dustin Welsh, like what are they going to become? Just like regular fodders at first base or whatever. I don't see big time talent when you see all these guys peaked. They're just gonna have to kind of figure out the puzzle piece when they come up, and that's not going to be a fun situation. They don't have stamps at positions. Like I think Shizmu, he's a good stamp at a position. Put him at second base, third base. But like, where's your shortstop? Where's your catcher? Where's your your outfield? I like Majori Banks, cool. But the other guys, it's like we'll see. So how do you grade this rebuild? I don't know. We'll wait and see. But it's gonna be a long time till Land can do anything.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest though, 80%. 80. You not hear me?
Yep, you're back.
Okay.
A little bit, yeah.
80% of good prospects in quotation marks with the peak and everything, they aren't that good. They're going to be like an average.
Yeah.
And it's easy to see that. For the most part, some, will surprise you. But 80% of them are going to be average or worse. So, like, when we're really looking at these prospects, if you want to be honest about it, like, not very many of them have substance. It's just the way it is. I mean, most prospects in the file are not very good. Even if they're 68-94 or 73-91, whatever right? I mean, the prospects that have substance are few and far between. So I would say Stang's farm compared to most is pretty good. I know he is rebuilding, so it should be better. But stop it. But do you hear more shit?
No. I'm just
okay. I'm just like, I feel like it's peaceful, right? But I don't know. I think we're being a little hard on him. I don't know why I'm being nice to him, but That's just me. And his lineup is fine. It's not. There's no tanking. That I have to say, even though fucking Marty thinks Tarbox is still playing shortstop. So
He's stuck on last year's file.
It's
Let's
fine.
talk
He is much better upgrade, so he has appeased me on that. He can sleep better at night. Oh,
right.
but okay, here is my praise. I do like Verniset. You know, that 96 peak, which is probably a 99 or 100 peak. It is very nice. That range will be very awesome. I think the power will develop very well. That is a prospect to really circle the wagons around. That's a building block.
All right. Well, there's your stamp of. So let's move on from him. Let's go to Washington, a team that is really fourth place in the NL East. 9 games under 500. Lost 9 of the last 10, 6 straight. Their Pythag is even worse than that. Lots of thoughts of tanking in general. A lot of people aren't happy with the way this team's going. So with that, Peter, what do you think?
Well, I love the way you framed it. That was a beautiful picture you painted.
Thank you.
Of the team. I mean, this is no fun for me. I mean, I don't like looking at the sim and seeing nine losses out of the last 10. So, I mean, we're in a tough spot right now. We're treading water while we're trying to build up some talent. So really, I mean, there's nothing really that exciting to talk about. I'm trying to build a good pitching staff. I think I have some good prospects to do that with. Hopefully, guys like Homer Jones and Willie Amarias and Tony Rydell come up and be my version of the Milwaukee starting rotation. I can have those guys all paired up and hopefully build one of the best rotations in the league. And I think I have some nice bats coming up. So I'm just playing for the youngins right now.
Yeah, someone's eating the shit out of some snacks right now. But, you have pieces that are like, foundational pieces, which is important, obviously, but people seem to forget about that when they're rebuilding or retooling. I mean, you're retooling, but you have a lot of them. So, there's nothing to say. You're going to annoy all of us. So, that's what I got for you.
Yeah, I think Washington's like trending upward. It's going to be predicated off their pitching. Homer Jones, Tony Rydell. I mean, Homer Rydell's going to take minimum 5 years to get up, so you can't really expect him to come up next 2 or 3 years, whatever. I'm missing someone. There's another good guy in there.
Willie Amarias, probably. He's my second starter right now.
Okay, yeah, actually, yeah, I remember him in that draft. I was a big fan. And also, I'm a big fan of the pitcher you got, Tim Findlay. Findlay.
Yeah.
My God, Jesus! I can't wait to see the levels. By the way, later. Anyway, it's gonna be insane. I'm not even gonna edit it, like straight up. Anyway, no, I like where his team is going, and I'm not just trying to be nice, but you do have some foundational pieces. I was a big fan of that Dyer trade. As much as I'll hate Mizzy for trading him, big ups to you for getting him because he could be a really nice corner outfielder.
Yeah, that worked out well for me. I was planning on comping the pitcher Salazar that I moved to him at the end of the year, but I was like, if you want to make it worth my while, I'll trade him right now. It's no problem. So
yeah,
we
more power
settled
to
on
you.
him. I added a little bit more on my side, and I liked Dyer during that draft, so it was nice picking him up.
And for the record, Salazar is just dog shit. So,
Yeah,
I would love to hear
it better getting out of Baltimore, but he's not terrible. He's not fantastic. He's somewhere in the middle.
I would love to hear Pete American Mike trade talk.
I'm just saying, like he's like a mirage pitcher.
I think he'd be fine as a.
Anyway, now Washington's in a good position. Their pitching is kind of lagging at the moment. So it's going to take him. I would say you're probably back at 2090, 2091.
In this division, though, a couple free agent.
Yeah, but I think Peter's not going to rush a guy like Homer Jones or.
No, but I'm saying you could in that division. A couple low key, not franchise altering moves. You get the right guys in there. I think you could compete for that division with what he has already.
Yeah, if he plugs away and makes smart moves, but I'm saying like the legit team, probably not gonna have for 4 years.
No, you're not gonna have the just below super.
And like Pierce said, he wants to line them up all together, and it seems like he's on some sort of track with you guys talk about. And Kitao, he's pretty good too.
Kitao.
Yeah, the Asian lefty.
Oh yeah, he's who? Yeah, height.
But I'm just curious to see how it'll all come together in 40s, because like since your offense is a little more advanced, like are they going to be like in the prime? Maybe they'll pass the prime. I don't know. Well, when you start legit winning, we'll see. Philly.
There we go. Philly. I want to talk about me.
Wait,
they're just.
Only unless Matty has got something about the.
Marty? What do you got?
He went mute. So.
All right. So Philadelphia, no man, like they don't trade, which is fine. They probably are just appalled by trade offers in FC, which I get. Happy, and it's just I don't know. I know they got a lot of guys coming up, and they had a lot, scraps, but I don't see this team really putting it all together. Again, there's just holes that are gross. Like maybe I'm thinking that what's his name, Dave? Is that right, Pete? You know all the.
Yeah, Dave.
All right, Dave. Like Dave is trying to win right now, at a certain capacity, and there's certain spots that are just gonna kill you in his lineup, in the pitching staff, to where you could make moves that are gonna cost you cash that will help you out. And maybe that's just my philosophy, and that's not right. But there's a lot of upgrades that could be pretty easily division right now. But that's my thought. I don't know. He's a after, and he has nice pieces. I just think he's kind of has the Miz, the American Mike syndrome, where putting together the parts sometimes they lack.
He's got the pitching talent is in the system. He's got a lot of pitching talent, so he's got a lot of the hard work out of the way. Some of the top-rated guys like Verdesia, McLaughlin, I'm not sure. They have great vitals. I'm not sure how well they're actually going to be in reality. I'm not sure we're talking about sub-3 guys that you're really drooling over. But there are pieces I think that will be in Philly for a long time, and I think they'll be sustainable higher-end pitchers. I just question whether that eliteness is going to come out of this roster.
Yeah, I will say I was probably one of the people hyping up Philly for a while, and I did think that they would take a significant step this year, but I don't think free agency had enough out there to really propel a team forward. Philly's got a lot of room to make some moves this offseason if they wanted to. I like Verdesia, I like McLaughlin. The other guys are kind of, we'll see. Westlake is a solid 4. Sharma needs to take the next jump.
Here's Marfell, who's hurt. He looks good.
Yeah, Foe is probably their number 3. When he.
I'm saying Marfell.
Oh, Marfell. No, he's. I think he should be out there in the market to get the hell out of Philly. But
I think Bell might be better than Verdacia or McLaughlin.
I don't know. That movement. I've seen players like that, and I was critical on him when he drafted him. That he looks like a oh man, what the hell is his name? He was like a decent pitcher on Colorado for like 2 years, and then for the rest.
If
The guy that you
Verdacia
traded him?
95, I'm sure he'll put up the numbers, but at this 93, like he's given up too many homers. I don't know. I don't see the elite upside with this guy. That's what I'm getting at.
With who?
Verdacia.
He's still young, man. I mean, you don't know.
Verdacia could be a top 10 pitcher.
I don't see unless he gets to 95. I don't see that.
Yeah. You know about his home runs for, this is only his second real year, full year. So, like, it looks, I don't know. It doesn't look too bad. I don't really know until year 3.
Ephraim Boris was the guy's name, by the way.
Oh, God, yes. He had a high overall for a while, didn't he?
High overall, but high control, kind of below average movement, and good. Like
it's not what you want, but I'm not saying he's elite, but you could put in your 4 spot and not be mad about. No. Anyways, Philly. I mean, so do you guys think they have a good future? Couple right moves.
Philly's definitely in a great spot. Like overall, good finances, good prospects, an elite like top end talent. Capitano and Verdacia are really good guys.
Capitano is a really good player.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I mean, they couple under the radar moves, and man, they can win the division next year. I think,
and that's the thing. There's a lot of teams who like need like those pieces. Like they have a good. I'm saying you've seen over the years where you've seen like a good collection of talent, but like 3/4 of the time it's like you're strapped for cash, or whatever. This team could add a whole second group of guys in free agency and trades, whatever, and they'll be completely fine financially.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, they have to get better. They really
to watch.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we got Florida. Hokie, the devil of FCM, the Black Menace, the shadow behind Peter. Those are all terrible. Anyways, so I've always liked Hokie's style in terms of building a team for the most part. Goes with elite pitching, even if it's different. Pitching prospects go. He goes boom or bust kind of for those high power guys, but if they work out, they work out really well. And then he kind of pieces together the hitting. And I think that he has done a good job of that again. He's spent some time kind of fun, which we don't usually see with him. But he does have some. It's interesting. He has some like defensive spots that you think you really want to focus on the defensive side of it, and they're really lacking. That's again just my preference, but and then he has elite defensive guys, so it's weird. But I think he's probably going to win the division this season. He has an amazing, I think, pitching prospect in Lance Holder. I think he's really good. He'll be up soon, but for now, I think he's the class in the East, and I think that he's gonna, he has a chance to, represent the NL in the World Series. That's all I got. Someone say something.
I guess I'll go in. Yeah, I like where this team is at. Hokie, obviously he goes pitching first, but he has shocked me with some moves, with the Nace move, the Adalco move. So he's trying to pick up momentum on guys on offense. So I'm curious if they're even going to win a division this year, because New York is kind of there right now. But They have the top end pitching, so they have it all together. This team could easily represent the NL in the World Series. So this is the team. This is it.
Pete, your boy. What do you think about his team?
Oh, I think he's bad, and I think he should be ashamed. And that's basically all I need to say to cover this team.
All right, Marty, what do you think?
I think I might have done a FCM sin when I enlightened Hokie on the whole like low strikeout thing and how to see that and how to kind of sometimes gauge if that's gonna render their contact as a lot of fluff. So I feel bad about that. His team, well, once you tank for 10 years, then you have a lot of prospects. You're going to have a solid team. You just should. If you don't, then you're completely, I don't know, you're just picking random prospects at the draft. But yeah, team's good. How long will they be good? Who knows? Depends on whoever he can probably get to take a really stupid deal to help set him up for another few years. But
his pitching's pretty young and pretty elite, I would say. So he should be good for a while.
That's kind of his thing. So
that's a good thing to be.
Yeah, I think I will say Walder might be the guy that we look back on, or I look back on as the guy that I probably should have taken over Seton. That was a very close. Which guy do I take? I think it was that draft. I could be completely wrong. I'm not even looking. But I know Walder was the guy that I liked, and I did pass on in one draft. So that's a pretty good prospect to have.
All right. Well, just in terms of, it's always an interesting division. Everyone loved each other there. Like, it looks like, at least for me, it looks like. I don't know. I'm not as sold on the Mets. Oh shit, we have to talk about the Mets still, don't we?
Yeah, we gotta talk about the Mets.
Oh my god. All right. Just Maynard, talk about your Mets. I feel like you.
All right. This is the team that nobody's talking about.
Shut up.
The Mets are the team no one's talking about. They have like talent with a capital T. Ayala, say what you want about him. Diabasi, he's probably one of the fancier catchers in the league. He's actually putting it all together this year. Bo Winters, he was a former first overall pick. He's been doing it for seasons on the radar. He's got Pendergrass. That's a top flight, ace. Even though I guess he hasn't won a Cy Young or anything like that. So I could see him flying under radar, but he's there. This is like the team that could do it all this year and probably never again, but only because of their financial situation. But I think they have like one hole, and that's third base. If they could figure out third base, even though the kid's hitting, I look at defense first. That's just
what about right field?
That's my viewpoint on that. But a couple.
You don't think they have a hole in right field? They have the ghost of Greg Russell.
Greg Russell is fantastic.
It's funny because he's been pretty good for the last his over 30 years. I mean, now he's kind of toast, but if he had him last year, he would have actually been okay. Anyway, long story short, I think this team could actually win a division, but this is it. So if you're gonna go all out, Decker, do it now, right now. Get yourself a third baseman, get yourself a right fielder. Boom.
He really hurt himself because he just basically punted the draft and he didn't get on to make the pick move. I think he was planning on moving his picks, whether it was for cash or otherwise. He really lost that opportunity. New York's not going to get anywhere in the playoffs if they make it. Their pitching's too soft. Their pitching's just not very good. There's some good ratings, but there's just the performance isn't there. It's a shame what's happened to Brian Roth, their shortstop. This guy is one of the top prospects in the league. 10 years ago, and the shine has worn off. He's still a good player, but he's not what he once was. This team isn't going to get by on their offense alone.
Man, I just think that they have two really good starters. And
They don't. They don't.
Yes, they do. Pendergrass and Weiss are really good.
Pendergast is not very good.
That's very good. I think they're two really good starters.
I'm waiting for Pendergrass to show me something, and he's 30.
Yeah, I mean, he has two nearly sub-3, like low 3 ERA seasons. He could do it.
I think on other teams that focus on defense, he's a low 3 to high 2. No?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. His defense isn't that bad.
He doesn't give up dingers, and he doesn't give up hits. So why, like,
you talking about Pendergrass? Yeah.
285 is you have a 284 dice, but a 309 ERA. It's defense. It's got to be something like that.
Yeah.
Or either that, or it's just terribly bad luck. That should be an elite season.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly think that this is the team that can make one or two moves, and I won't be shocked if they win it all. They have elite players, winners. Diabazi, Ayala. You have a great year out of Gordon Smith. We're talking like elite guys.
Well,
these guys can carry. I'm just saying.
I mean, I think they're going to make the playoff. What's up, buddy? But I don't know, man. I think they're kind of like a super GD team currently, where they just have stars and duds. And usually those teams don't fare that well. I don't know. And they got Vlad Bendino. So.
I don't think they have duds on the offensive side. I think their offense is pretty damn good.
Dude, Greg Russell.
It's Greg Russell, yeah. You can easily find yourself a right fielder.
Their third baseman sucks. I know he's
Greg Russell. Greg Russell maybe a 67, but Greg Russell's not a bad player.
No, but you can upgrade him. I'm just saying you can upgrade him.
He's a horrible player right now.
He's not a good defender. He's not a good defender.
Their third baseman not going to continue his hitting is not good either.
Sure, but
I honestly wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind if they pick up defense only right field, defense only third base.
That would make them better.
That much better.
Yeah.
Scooter 330. Scooter 330 from Dan Tana because it's going to level off in a couple sims.
I'm not huge on the second baseman either.
Second base, yeah, Donnelly. But I mean, he's got a good track record. I don't mind Donnelly, and Brian Ross is a good shortstop, so that kind of.
Oh yeah, the shortstop's fine. But yeah, they're interesting.
GB, trade him Leonard Withy. Let him play at third base.
Leonard Withy is going to be my. What do I do then? Seriously,
yeah, Jack, if you're listening, just go defense for third base and right field, or just find a better all around right fielder.
I will say that Deck is the most silent guy that gets. These guys are like amazing. Like half of his roster, awesome. It's interesting, and he's dominating Pete right now as well. But anyway, so just put a.
Maximize your Ayala years. Maximize them.
Sure. Well, he has a lot of those. But so we got. I still think Florida takes the division. And then I think New York gets a wild card. But after that it doesn't really matter. But that's kind of my thought on the
I don't think the Mets are a lock for a wild card.
Who else is good in the NL?
Yeah,
not the West.
Cincy yeah, maybe.
No, since he's trending down. Oh well.
Cincinnati has a +3 currently. I mean, San Diego has a better Pythagorean than they do, which doesn't mean everything, but it means something. So. Let's get out of the NL. It only took us 2.5 hours to do that. So, let's go. I've got a request to start the AL off with the Red Sox and Boston. What do you guys think? Anyone have any strong feelings?
Should we honor that request? Or
I'm on. Well, I mean, I would have anyways.
Should we bookmark it and start tomorrow? Shit.
They are last in the AL.
I mean, we just went 2 hours on.
Did we really go 2 hours? I was joking.
No,
it's
an hour and a half.
8:09.
Oh God! All right, let's do a little. Let's get. Huh?
I mean, we're gonna get some upset. Getting upset Fred right now, though. That's the only thing. We're gonna go team by team.
Do the Fred talk and cut it. just talk about Boston and then be done with the whole. We gotta get Fred's wishes here. All right, Fred, your team, man. Pete, talk about him.
Skip me. Go ahead.
That offense. Oh, what is there to look at in Boston, man? It's sad. The offense has nothing to look at. The pitching has some nice pieces to look at. You got Maxwell Wallace, 27-year-old, one of the best young pitchers in the game. And where did Guillermo Sanchez come from? I guess this guy was picked 4th overall. I honestly don't remember him back in '83. But this guy's set up. He's looking like a good young pitcher. Boston's gonna have a nice rotation once he calls that guy up, and they're young. At least a nice 1-2. I don't think much of Lyle Reed. I don't think much of Aaron Brake, but he's gonna have a nice young 1-2. But he has nothing to surround it with right now.
That's your thoughts?
Yeah.
You know, I really that Juan Isambero.
Yeah, player.
Looks like he could be a really good two-way player. Starting next jump. I don't know when he got his last jump, but next jump he looks like he could be really good. Gabe Tinker, the third baseman, should be a solid third baseman soon. Marcus Dimick.
It's kind of Albert Gabusi light, by the way.
Who? Tinker?
Yeah, Tinker.
Yeah, I agree. But yet we hear so much less. He's got some pieces. I mean, he's got a farm system that rivals Peters in terms of size almost. We got some. I mean, Guillermo. That dude better be up in the rotation next, because he's ready. I would say, and it's just about again fitting the complementary pieces around these guys. Good, and there's a lot of guys that could be upgraded. So he makes the right moves in the off season. A lot of them. He could. I'm just saying he has talent. It's just there's a lot of lacking spots that wouldn't be hard to upgrade. So that's kind of what I got on Boston.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this about the Red Sox. This is like the period where like the pitchers are ready to go, but now is the clear time to make that trade to get that roster configured. Like there's a lot of guys like basically trim to fat to get your guys, whether it's Aaron Brake or Warren Lee or I don't know, some other valuable reliever. If they're not in your 5-year plan, get the guy who you can see projected to be good 2 to 3 years from now. But you have to be out there. You got to see those guys. But now's the time to do it because you see the pitching ready to go. You see Isambero and Chambliss and all these guys. They're going to be good in pretty much 2 to 3 years. So couple these guys by trading off your fat right now. But you got to do it now.
Yeah, I mean he's got pieces, and he's got pieces that he can move. So I know Fred isn't a big trader. I think that someone jaded him on the trading process early on. Name. But he has an opportunity to have a good team starting next year if he makes the right moves. I mean, I honestly believe that. So,
yeah. I will add that Isambero should pretty much be called up right now. There's no reason not to. He's going to be 25 next sim. So at this point, that put him not even being free agent eligible until he's 32. So what are you really waiting for at this point? I mean, he's an upgrade. He's old enough. Just let him do his thing.
Yeah, I would wait on him, honestly.
Why?
I don't think there's a wrong move on that one.
I would wait for the service time. That's just me.
What does service time matter if he's going to be a free agent at 32? It doesn't.
Well, you keep him around for cheap. I don't know. His birthday's coming up. Has he had a winter ball? Of course he did. Okay.
I hope so.
Honestly, I
Matters in 81.
don't play the service time game in Mogul at all, just because Mogul just plays the rookie blues on the rookies that play so hard. You cannot rely on these guys until they have a season under their belt.
I don't
play
think
the
he's ready.
service time game. It's not worth it.
I just don't think he's ready.
I don't think either way what he does is. I think if his next jump, he's not wrong on him, honestly. But anyways, Fred wants to hear more Marty. So Marty, continue on about the Red Sox. Jesus, quickly though.
Nope,
That's all you got. All right.
that's all I got. I mean, that's just the thing. I think just in general, I think people wait way too long because they're waiting for this perfect moment, and kind of like Peter said, it doesn't really matter. Just get them up there. I mean, I do watch it if the guy's like 22 or 23. Sure, maybe I'm waiting until Sim 3 to get him up there because then you avoid them being Super 2 eligible. But after that, just call the fucker up. If he is ready past Sim 3, just call him up. It doesn't matter. Call him up. Let him do his thing, because then once he gets his rookie blues out, then he should be hitting or pitching, whatever, doing like he should. So then the trains are rolling.
All right, Fred. Well, if he advice, let's talk about Toronto, the team that FCM the last 20 years after Corey took over. Oh man, you know what? We might have a competition here. No, they have good. Damn it! I was gonna say, Pete, that we might have competition for
The longest.
major league teams, but they have some really good pitching, man.
Rich Haven is a beast. Rich Haven is very good.
Rich Haven, yeah. I mean, Ben Russo peaks out. He already is really good. Obviously, Tiger Great Komi Kawaguchi is amazing. But, you know, I think he's finally starting to get his dudes in. He's kind of had some struggles, really bad luck with high drafted prospects, which usually most people thought would be good, and he just got burned on them, just mogul lemons, really. But it looks like, you know, with this pitching staff coming up, you can build a lot around a good pitching staff. So it's looking like he's looking up there.
Part of the problem is with Toronto is that I'm not seeing the offensive pieces. Like, what is he supposed to bring up to work around these pitching prospects? He's got a great one too. There's no doubt about that in the rotation. But I don't see what he's building around on the offensive side. And the thing is, Corey back in his Mets days, I mean, he used to bring it through a lot of talent. He used to be a very good drafter. In Toronto, he's found himself in a lot of duds. Ones that I necessarily wouldn't even blame him for, but you can't let a couple picks define you. I mean, he needs to do a better job drafting.
All right. Well, I mean, I just look at, you know, Montreal's guys that have big contracts, and they'll probably be on the hitting side. So we can look at that for next year, and should be some improvements there. What do you think,
Bernie
Marty?
Taylor is definitely going to play for Toronto.
He is. We should put odds on that somewhere.
What is this?
Yeah, Toronto, they've got some things coming up, and I really don't pay much attention to them. I guess I just don't pay much attention to them. But yeah, Corey definitely has been burned on taking some guys that honestly were good prospects. Anyone who says they aren't, and he just took guys who sucked, or they're idiots, because They are builds and prospects at positions that most of us would always want to take and hope for the best. I think one was Aaron Ford, and that's Resendez build. So if he hits, then he's going to be great. And if he doesn't, like he did, you wasted a really high pick. That really sucks. Yeah, he's got some things going for him. The NL East, I think right now is just there's some good things going there. Not a lot. So if Corey does make the right moves, he could do something in a few years there.
Mayor.
My look is I'm looking at unsustainable model. Spent a ton of money on Brent Kilter, spent a ton of money on McAslin. Offense just is not there. Right now, what are they making? Like $6 million profit. It's kind of like the opposite of what we're looking at in Philly. Like Philly has holes, but they have so much space to kind of fill them up. It seems like you tried to fill up spaces, but now you're stuck. You're stuck now. You have $160 million payroll. You have young stars, but where is it all going towards? So you're really stuck in neutral. I'm curious to see what would happen if you decided to move a guy like Haven or Russo. But I don't see a sustainable model. Unless I see significant improvements on the offensive end, this team's going to be stuck in the 75 to 80 win range. And that's it. That's all we're going to see.
Yeah. I mean, 2 or 3 really elite pitchers, you can build around that. You can build around it. Not great resources. I don't know. To be competitive, at least look for a wild card. But yeah, that'll take a lot of doing. Baltimore, you guys talk about Baltimore. Pete.
I don't know what there's to say about Baltimore. I don't get it. I mean, they have some of those like cornerstone pieces that you'd love. Zach Turner is one of them. Young dude. The pitcher Sancha, young dude, very good. Santos, young dude. We'll see how good he is. I have my doubts about him. I don't know what Baltimore has never been able to put the total picture together. And there's been some years you look at the team and you're just like, why isn't this team winning? I mean, for a while it was the defense, but even once the defense was mostly resolved, they still didn't make a lot of noise. Baltimore just kind of befuddles me. I don't know what to make of Baltimore.
Last year we all cried defensive alignment and it worked. This year I don't even know what to even pinpoint now. Maybe because they lost their ace last year. I don't know. They have the best player in my eyes. They have the best current player in the file, which is Zach Turner. And I don't know. This team is just straight up underachieving. But their Pythag, their Pythag indicates that they're getting unlucky right now.
How are you going to say Jeff Hainsworth isn't the best player, right? With Matt right in your face. That is disrespectful.
Who's this?
Jeff Hainsworth has no need. He's playing on fumes.
Zach Turner's best player in the file right now.
Well, maybe he meant the most valuable as a trade asset. That probably argue that.
Why is Zach Winstanley not, or DH and Kohler's the others? Why is Brett Broomfield playing?
Why is Kiefer not in the majors? Kiefer is one of the best prospects in the game. Kiefer is a great player.
Who the hell is that?
Yeah, who the hell is
still
that?
in Double-A. He needs more season. He's only 19.
Kiefer is great.
Oh, holy shit! He's really good.
Oh, dude.
Maybe he's playing it slow and not trying to pull an Aaron Ford.
Damn.
Kiefer should be in the majors right now.
Yeah. Either way, I mean, it's tough to talk about Bolt. It feels like they're very close to. I think Joey Walsh is like just the way he is in the clubhouse didn't. and the way that they traded all the way those picks. I know the Asian prospect was really in the minors. He's gone. But the number one thing we have to talk about with Baltimore, Tavo Razzo became good.
The party animal.
He did.
Oh, he could be the ace.
Yeah, like I remember him in the draft. He was just a high peak guy that everyone thought would be, me included. And look at him. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. So going back, I will sound off on the Walsh trade. It didn't make any sense to kind of release all those assets to get a 4-star. I mean, like Tavarazzo should be your number 3, I guess, at worst. So to spend on a guy you're gonna put at number 5, I guess. Not that Joe Walsh is a number 5, he's a number 4. You didn't need to make that move. You could just throw in. Well, you could at least sign someone cheap just to have innings at the 5 spot. So yeah, I disagree with that Joey Walsh move. And good for Peter for making that move, but
I mean, Walsh can be slotted in the 4 spot all he wants. He's the second or third best pitcher.
What I'm saying is they had 4 guys. You don't need to spend for the 5th guy.
That's but what you're replacing to what you're paying for.
Yeah,
it's not that Walsh isn't really good.
No, yeah. It's just the idea of you're getting a 5th guy. You don't. The 5th guy doesn't have impact in the playoffs. I guess for depth purposes, whatever. But you don't need to get a guy you think is going to be the ace. Well, sorry. If you're going to go out and spend those guys, get yourself an ace, not a guy who used to be an ace.
Walsh plays like an ace, so I don't know.
Stop it, Pete. If Baltimore offered that to you,
no, he's on a clear decline. It just didn't make any sense. Like the situation didn't make any sense. Joe Walsh is a good pitcher, of course he is, but to spend the assets he did to get himself a declining, number 3 right now, didn't make any sense. He already had the guys. He had the guys right in front of him.
All right. Well, the befuddling Orioles.
Yeah.
But
that team's it's unlucky right now. That team's unlucky.
Yeah. I want to talk about the Yankees, and my favorite thing now in the league is just telling Eric that his team isn't very good because it upsets him a lot.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how bad his team is. He has all the aces and a closer that should be good but is not that great. And then a lot of really good hitters and a lot of hitters not that good. So, that's all I got. So just to shorten this a little bit, whoever wants to talk about the Yankees.
I just think that they missed their window to retool or to completely rebuild. This team is great. This team is absolutely great when they had their peak window. When they had Monty Hugo up, when they had the young stages of what's his face, Sean Walker. Like this team had it all, but now they're just they're like the Giants in real life past 2014. Like it's time. That's it. It's time. So that's where they're at. They're a good team, but they're not. They're a shadow of what they used to be.
I still think you want to take the East.
You still think the Yankees take the East?
Yeah, I do. Their pitching's their 1 through 4 pitchers are great. They are great pitchers. You can line them up against the Brewers. You can line them up against the Tigers. Those pitching staff hang. The wins are gonna come. Kuhlman, Kilby, Lavery, Cervante. Those are top 4. Those top 4 guys are very good. These guys are gonna hit. They probably do need a little bit of tweaking down at the bottom end to get a little bit more out of the lower end of the lineup. But that pitching alone is going to get them there.
Yeah, I got it. I wasn't going to talk, but I think they're just as dangerous. I don't like playing in the wild card or playoffs in general because they just have so many good players and they have top end pitching. I mean, I think they've gotten really unlucky in the playoffs. Probably the last 5 years, I'd say. They've gotten really. I mean, the playoffs are a shit show. They might have had the best talent in the AL the last decade, and they've just it's just, didn't go their way in the playoffs in the short series. And that's just randomness a lot. So if I were them, I would keep going, man. I would keep plugging along. That's just what I would do. Yeah, I think they have great talent still, and they're not old either in a lot of spots. So, yeah, Marty.
I will say this. Oh, he does have a pretty good pitcher on the DL if anyone looked at that. So he has a lot of depth. I know, right?
He agrees.
Right.
Yes.
How can I even top that one now? But if the one thing we're talking about trades that were probably misguided and what the hell were you thinking? What did it upgrade you? It was when Eric picked up Mike Hudgens from Seattle, which he essentially gave up 2 late first-round picks, a late third, and a late fourth-round pick for a guy to be his long reliever. That's a hefty price tag for a guy that's not going to pitch in any high-leverage situations ever.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Other than that, just keep chugging along. The team is good. You have some really good pitching, especially Sean Walker. Mike Coleman probably, I don't know if he still is the best shortstop in the league, but he's still one of the better shortstops in the league. He still has amazing fielding and can do some things offensively that are not a complete black hole. So, yeah, just got a good team. Just keep plugging along, no matter what the winds say right now. Just keep doing your thing, and by the end of the year, you should be winning. If you're not, just do the same thing next year, and you'll probably win. Because that's kind of how Mogul is. You have a good team, and Mogul says, well, fuck you. I'm going to let the team that's shitty win this year.
All right, so basically,
Hello?
So I'm going to transition into the bedroom. Because she's looking at me like,
oh,
yes. I know everyone's wives and was awesome. But let's talk about Montreal. Anyone?
Montreal is in kind of like a New York Mets type spot.
They're in a Mike type spot.
They're in a Mike type spot. Yeah, this is a classic Mike. Teams like nearing bankruptcy, but they stay afloat by trading off players and whatever and winning games. It's like a what you see is what you get type thing. Overpaid for Bernie Tailleur, overpaid for holy shit.
Oh.
Wow, you're loud.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Dude, my mic must be sensitive as shit, because...
God damn, I can't even speak. Yeah, overpaid for their ace starter. I mean, they have a good team right now. On paper, they have a good team. If you take it, finances aside, they have a good team. And we'll see what happens. They have a good defensive set, good pitching. Roll the dice, see what happens.
Yeah, I think this... And this is his team. He did not take long to make his. They're all the same. I mean, bloated payroll, old guys, and he's winning. And he's, next year he'll be fine somehow. So, that's what I got. Pete.
We're just listening to the TV in the background.
Sound like 50s music or some shit.
Yeah, it did.
All right, just mute me for a second.
Mute yourself.
Yeah, mute yourself. Ooh, he is going into the bedroom. I'm dying right now.
We're gonna get a copyright infringement on when I post this to YouTube.
All right. Is Marty still there? Maybe he can kick us off with a little Cleveland talk. I think we're ready to. I think we're ready to move on from the AL East.
Yeah, let's kick it off with the fighting, Chief Wahoos.
Well, you guys can all see what happened in the majors, so that is what it is. I won't talk much about that. I'll at least let you guys up to know at least what my plans are with the minor leagues and what guys matter, at least for as much as I care. Of course, there's Pat Swanson. I think he's going to be an extremely good power bat.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Wyman should be the shortstop of the future. Really good glove guy. Bruno, I don't know. Bruno's going to be Bruno and probably DH because that's just a good Bruno spot. Then the guy that I just drafted, Leonard Bryant. Hopefully, he could be my future center fielder. On the pitching side, Bramwell. I think I'm pretty deep there with Bramwell, Ford, Jacobs, reliever in Franklin. Back to starters, Setton and Bevan. Back to another reliever, Roger Whistler, another starter in Winwright, and that's really where the real big depth comes from. These guys that I can at least count on right now. I have guys, some other guys that are maybe in the 70s that I hope will show me something eventually, but at least those are the names that I'm hoping, at least prospect-wise, that will come up and help this supporting cast of odd misfits that sometimes want to put up really great sims and other times look like they've never touched a baseball in their life. So that's my team.
I'm gonna jump in. I really like where the Indians are currently at. They're kind of mirrored to where the Phillies are at, but I mean, a different situation. I just think you're in a better spot than Philly. You got all your guys primed to go. Allison, Buckman was a good trade. You even squeezed out value getting Fejos from Atlanta. Like that's paying off. He's been very solid, more than solid coming up. You put yourself in a good position financially. A bunch of young guys. Like if you really wanted to make a push, you could by going to free agency or going for that high priced, 30-year-old. Who knows? I actually did think that you were going to take a good giant step this year, but young team. I guess you could throw in a mulligan. That's fine. But yeah, this team's definitely on a very good track. I'm curious to see on the pitching side who's going to be the alpha. Like, is it going to be Tim Ford? Is it going to be Ian Seaton? Like, I don't see the clear number one if I'm going to like give any negative take on this team. Like, who's going to be the number one? The number one, number two, number three, because you need three to be a championship caliber roster.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see what happens with Tim Ford because everything, the peripherals look good, the vitals look good, but the minor league stats are bad. They are not good. I'm wondering what's going on with that. Maybe he gets to the majors and that all washes away and he's fine, but it's a red flag for now. But I'm curious to see how that plays out. It's interesting. A lot of people were mentioning this team to take a big step forward, like you said, Bobby. But it's funny how bad they've been. You look at the talent that's in the majors right on the offensive side already. The Buckman trade was a big trade. I thought that was a good move. You pair that with Allenson, Harrison, and Townsend right off the bat. You'd think this team would be. You hope to see some progress with the team already.
And what was I going to say?
I will at least jump back in.
Yeah, jump back
in. At least comment on Ford. I think some of his issues, definitely he could be a guy who's always plagued with homers. But I think one of the things where his minor league numbers haven't looked real good is because his movement has been lagging far behind his overall for a long time now. Now that's getting close. You see this year, at least the home runs are getting much better. The batting average isn't. So I I don't know. I don't really look at batting average much for the minor league stats, so it could be something, it could not be something. But at least I know that the movement is catching up, and I think that's where you're seeing better numbers.
To wrap up the Indians, I think they're in a tremendous spot. But I'm grading all these rosters, whatever, based off of can they win a championship. I'm gonna challenge this team. Whoa. The challenge for this team is, will they have the pitching? They will have a great team on paper, but pitching is going to be the difference maker for this team. I'm just curious to see what are you going to do to make it happen. Like I know you've been looking for that ace, controllable starter, and you have the ammo to do it. So I'm curious to see when that move happens and who that will be.
Just got to be patient with that.
I'm with you.
I've been after that for about 2 off seasons now, open to it all. Some people have chimed in thinking that they have the ace for me, but to be honest, a lot of I kind of laugh at. They've either been older or just guys that I don't quite think are there, and they want to make me believe they are there. I'm looking for a guy like on Toronto,
Haven,
Ben Russo. That would be a guy come up and say, yeah, I want this, that. I'm at least interested in it. Whether I really pull the trigger or not, I'm not going to say that. But that type of guy, real young guy looks good. There you go.
And that's a credit to you, because it's not easy to say you want something and not settling for option B. Like, you have time to wait, and that's totally fine. Like, your team could play 500 ball for the next year or two, and you're completely fine. You still have the same group of guys all growing together. All right, let's move on. Is GB back, or is he like kind of?
I'm back, and I'm in a quiet space.
All right, Cleveland, speak.
No, I think he's just got really unlucky. It's amazing how he can have such a bad record with his roster. I know he has a lot of young guys that are just they can be that bad. I look at them as no disrespect, but I look at them as my competition. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Kansas City.
What is that? That is not me, at least. All right.
I don't know where that's going. I think it's coming from your mic, though.
It can't be from my mic.
I'm on my phone. It's vibrating every once in a while.
No.
Okay.
Blame me for everything here. I will just say this about Kansas City. They have a lot of nice new pieces. If Tom Metz, he's a shortstop. If he becomes a good player, I'm giving up in life. That's all I got.
Fuck. Yeah, he could be really good.
He shouldn't be good, I don't think. As a shortstop? No way. Anyways, that's all I got.
Yeah, this team definitely didn't have many assets when Ryan and Andy, which they needed like a little nickname, by the way.
Randy.
Randy?
It's perfect.
With like a Y. It looks like Ryandy, but it's Randy. Okay, I'm with it. No, I mean, this team just needs more talent in general, like more depth, more whatever. This is going to be a long, tough rebuild. So, they'll tank it up for the next 25 years, and then they'll be dominant.
I mean, Andy's drafting like a villain already. He's scooping up all kinds of talented players. There's plenty of talented players that are like 78, 82 peak in his system that you can see the stair-step climb coming, that they're going to be pretty good players. So it's just time. It's just time between now and Kansas City being good. I will say, based on I think this is a little bit notable. The pick that they just took 4th overall, I wasn't crazy about Jeff Rosser. I know Andy was super high on this guy, but from my perspective, I don't see how you can pass on the dude Colorado got to take Rosser ahead of him. The only advantage I see for Rosser is that he's a lefty. Other than that, I see a lot more upside when it comes to Cubano.
I think if I'm going to
Cubano's a
tap
lefty
into
too, never mind.
Yeah, but I would say to argue that to tap into the hive mind of Kansas City, you get a guy with tremendous upside, and it might take
Cubano
him.
has even more though. Cubano has even more upside.
Yeah, but it's 6. Yeah, this guy's 16 now.
Cubano's 19.
All right, but whatever. Maybe it'll take him 25 years to get to where he needs to be, and trade him and do Andy maneuvers to get freaking 3 rosters by the time he's 19. Because that's classic Andy. Andy will get he'll get like core guys, and then he'll flip the core guy to get 3 core guys. So I think there's like a hopeful long-term plan for roster to be moved in the future.
Let's hope Andy is long gone by that time.
I mean, the word is that this is his last year in Kansas City. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the word.
Then you got nothing to worry about.
Well, I have a question. So you guys kind of cut out there on my end, at least. Calling them Randy.
Who?
The whole
What?
duo in Kansas City, calling him Randy, right?
Yeah.
Randy, yes.
Well, I think a better name for them might be Rain Man, and everyone can try and figure out who Dustin Hoffman is and who Tom Cruise is.
That's not
but
nice.
yeah. Okay, well, that's cool. But there's some definitely good prospects rolling there. If Ryan can listen to some of the tutelage that Andy is trying to bestow upon him, this team could really be a factor there in the future. And I really do like the first round pick of that first baseman guy.
Rosser.
There you go. Yep, Rosser. There's always something that when you take a guy that's that young, those 16-year-olds, Mogul loves them for whatever reason, and you can take. I think Eric took a pitcher that was 16 years old once that just looked complete shit, and he turned into something really great. So I mean, Mogul can just do something different with those guys who are really young, and he's going to be a pretty good prospect. When you have your powers plus 12 over your overall to begin, that's a pretty good basis to start with. So yeah, Kansas City is definitely in the right direction to rebuild. Interesting to see how long it takes. Also be interesting to see how well Baron Sultanovich goes or does. This year has been complete shit. Last year, not that much better. But he has that really interesting build that we haven't seen in a long time. So it'll be interesting to see if home runs really do plague him or if he figures it out and does something.
Yeah, that guy's mirage. That guy's dog shit.
It looks like he should have good home run, from his amateur numbers.
Right, and that's what I'm saying there. Yeah, you can say right now, in 22 games, he's dog shit. Well, yeah, a lot of players look like dog shit in the first 22 games.
But I'm also looking at how Mogul works, and he's peaked at 91, and if you look at the skills, this guy's gonna be primed for a drop or 2 or 5.
See,
and then he's gonna level out at
that one. You don't know. He could have a what do you peak out? 22, 23. He could not peak out. He could not have a peak end until 34. Mogul, I don't think Mogul.
Then we'll treasure his 5.50 ERA with 25 bombs a year.
That
could be him. I'm not saying that he couldn't be that. I'm just saying. I mean, you're trying to base him off of 22 starts. At least try and base him off maybe after he has like a couple years under his belt to see where he's at. Because some guys look like complete horseshit their first year, and they do something after that.
You're
I
right.
don't know. I don't know of any star that has ever started off. I fall more on the Bobby side of this. I don't know any star player that started off this bad. I mean, you can say it's only 22 starts, but oh my God, they've been bad.
I'm just looking at the skills tab, and I know that there's going to be some sort of
Drop.
There's going to be something. This isn't the real Salta Batata Lich.
Alberto Mendez started off with a 495 OPS.
What are the odds he's not a Royal by the?
Someone's going to be the fool. Someone's going to do it, and they're going to regret it.
Yeah.
It's a tough pitcher to grab.
I will say this about though. The word on the street is that Ryan drafted Salvador Velea, the prospect, 73.91. He looks pretty damn good. He looks like he has a pretty good future. Like, could be a possible 1 or 2 type pitcher down the road.
I like him.
I would say. No one likes him.
No, I do. I think he'll be, at best a good. I'm saying like on a good team, probably like a 3. Good player.
Yeah, I think he's really count on. You would think. So, anyways, what about the enigma that is the White Sox? Won 102 games.
The White Sox core is awesome. Like they're 3-4 of Jay Spencer and Sean Stanton. It doesn't get much better than that in terms of a 2-man core offensively. Like, I think those 2 guys are going to be so good.
That's all you got?
Well,
All right, then.
I can move on to a little bit of the negative. I mean, their pitching doesn't have much of a future. They have a couple good pieces right now, but they're nothing that you're really banking on long term. So, unfortunately, unless JPS makes some moves to alleviate that, he's not going to stay at the top of this division in that race all the time.
I'm guessing you're done, Peter.
Go for it, man. I don't know.
Okay.
We've been doing this shit for like 3 hours. This is
no. Well, we're at the point of no return now. Anyway, this is an overachieving group. They definitely overachieved last year with that pitching, legit offense. But I was just so puzzled why they moved their first baseman to their division foe. Anyway,
Suck.
I don't think he sucked. All
He's
right.
horseshit.
Maybe he wasn't as great as his vitals kind of indicated, but he probably had an opportunity to grab better pitching from it. I don't know. But anyway, this team, they're kind of below average on the pitching side. So unless they figure that out, that's where they're at. They can't overachieve like they did last year every single year. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, and he needs to figure out the pitching.
He also needs to figure out a stadium.
That too, badly.
I haven't looked at that. How bad is it?
It's not good. It's worse than his pitching. But yeah,
His budget's in a really bad spot because he isn't able to have a nice stadium and keep the fans happy.
Yeah, that's where Gilly fucked up too.
Yes.
Well, I mean, no. Well, all right. Listen. In my eyes, you should be opening up a stadium when your team is ready to win for 5 years minimum. 5 years, boom. Like, have a core. Open up a stadium, ready to win. Get the fans, in the seats. Sell the tickets. But you cannot be Jekyll and Hyde.
So you're saying Gilly's not ready to win?
No, he blew his load too early when he made that stadium, and then now he's complaining about finances again. Well, you fucked
I don't
up.
think the stadium timing matters that much, honestly.
No, it does. It does because if you keep going to the playoffs, or
I understand
whatever.
It helps, but I don't think it's a killer.
Oh, it's a killer.
How is it a killer? I built the Indian Stadium back in my first go around with the Indians, and everything is still excellent. So I don't think it really matters. Definitely winning helps with your budget, But as far as like your stadium staying there and doing, staying in good shape, I don't think that matters
I
at
think he's
all.
talking about maximizing.
Yeah, maximizing.
Well, that but his
Well, that's
stadium's
what he's
falling
saying.
apart. He should have done something. Whenever he does something, he needs to do something. I think that timing matters.
Well, okay. Well, Chicago needs a new ballpark, and that's that.
There it is. JPS, listen. What about everyone's favorite team, man? League.
The Twinkies?
The Twinkies.
The Twinkies have been stuck in the
Gabusi.
run man position for about 3-4 seasons, and I'm very curious if they can ever get over the hump, like Peyton Manning style. But I don't know. They're not there, and they don't have the assets to make that move. They're just stuck in position. It sucks.
They had a lovely opportunity just a couple years back. Move Gabusi right after the draft. I mean,
Well,
he could have had his playoff run. Ever since then, he's been treading water.
He's doing good right now.
he's doing really good, but we'll take him. Will he ride it off in the playoffs? I don't know. I don't think so.
He has the pitching to do that.
I will say he's probably got one of the best 1-2-3s in the league, but it's not even better than yours right now in Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, when you got that,
I don't know.
I'd keep going.
No, I'm just saying it's just
He is kind of limited on his.
yeah, limited. I'm done. I love Mass and what he does. He's a good GM, but it's a tough situation for the Twinkies.
Yeah. I mean, the Twins, I think, are probably overachieving a little bit. And that's tough to say. I mean, he's 7 games back of the division already. I think he's playing a little bit above his head. I think he's pretty clearly going to be in the wild card game. That said, he has a great chance of winning the wild card game as long as Lil Burn is ready to go for that game. He's got the pitching to make a run. There's no doubt about it. But he just doesn't have the minor league talent to say, "Hey, I'm missing this piece in the middle of the season. Let's add that. Let's make the run." And he's done a poor job of the balancing act. He just went all in, and the minors is total garbage right now.
Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
will say that he does have a pretty good team for right now. How long that will last, we don't know. But I will give him props for this. He did try to get to build up the farm this offseason. Made a very valiant effort. I mean, would have just loaded up the farm system. Very good effort, but it just fell short.
I feel like there's some kind of.
No?
I don't know.
No?
I can't solve the riddle. I don't know.
I think that was more of a one-on-one conversation he was having to Brent, and that we were just sort of lingering on the outskirts of the conversation and didn't.
There's an inside joke.
Care.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it's really inside. I know there's multiple people who probably know about it, but yeah, he did make an effort to do that, which I know I'm serious. If he would have been able to do that, that would have set him up for many years. That would have really given him the depth in the minors that he needed. But going forward, it's just trying to figure out how to do that. If I was him, what I would try to do with the next draft class, try and trade it out for prospects that maybe people have soured on that you think actually do still have value, and if you can get a couple guys that are pretty good and can replace some of your older players, then you can keep the train rolling.
Huh. All right.
Okay.
Well,
people love them draft picks.
Don't they? All right. I'm not talking.
Let's hear it.
No, I'm just. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's same old blueprint of GB teams. Great pitching. The defense has a blueprint to it. and you've added a first baseman who's underachieving, and you have a superstar and a budding superstar in Nat Thomas. But the story is the pitching. You got arguably the best three in the league, and Sean Wetzel. I don't know how the fuck he's doing what he's doing, but he's doing it. And you got the best closer. So this is a championship roster.
Well, every inning they carry the corpse of Jeff Ainsworth out to catch some balls from a pitcher. Usually doesn't catch many of them because they're batted into the ground for a double play. The closer, he's elite, but he's not elite as some other people who apparently have 3 or 4 or 5 elite closers. Got some pitching prospects. There are some pitching prospects. Some of them look good. Some of them look like players that should be on the Indians instead. The positional side looks like complete dog shit. So, he's got that going for you, GB, which is nice.
Yeah, he's got some elite pitching prospects.
I think this team is far too young. I think Matt needs to go out there and make some moves to get a little bit more veteran experience in this team.
Yeah, their average age probably going to be like 32.
No, they're younger than that. I mean, the only old guys are like Kishera and Wetzel. I guess Jason Kwan, but he's ageless. That's about it. Everyone else is young.
Yeah. Geraldo is just a spring chicken.
Hey, he's just a platoon guy at this point.
He's still performing though.
He is. He's available too, anyway.
You know what'd be a good trade? Send him to New York.
The Mets?
Mets
cannot afford it.
It's the most expensive outfield.
It's expiring deal. It's expiring deal.
Yeah, it's only like $17 million now.
Yeah, they got it. All right, let's get to the West.
Yeah.
That's GB's division, unless Minnesota goes through or has Gilly type donation money.
Yeah, so the Angels, and they're just kind of in a flux. I guess they're trying to rebuild. They don't really have a ton of pieces to move, so it's going to be tough. So we're going to have to picks. So for me, it's a wait and see.
I was surprised that LA moved on from Buckman. I was really surprised by that. I suppose it does make sense given there's nothing around him right now. I would have thought he would have shopped him a little bit more. I didn't see a whole lot of shopping of him, but LA's in a tough spot overall. Their minors aren't very good. Their majors aren't very good. It's a tough spot.
Yeah, tough spot.
All right, so we love you. OWM.
I actually don't know the trade details of the Buckman trade. Was it draft picks? Yeah, Matty, tell us what was the
It's like 6th overall pick.
Yeah, I traded. What the fuck did I don't even remember anymore. Never mind. I think I traded my first 4 picks.
That catcher, right?
Robinson and a couple prospects or two, a couple okay prospects. I think when Gilly and Mizzy talked about the trade, I think that's what they talked. I think that's what they were doing when Gilly was drunk, and they just fired off that I got the better. I think they fired off that I gave up a heck of a lot, and I think I gave up a good. Obviously, I think I gave up a good amount. But I thought what I initially tried to offer was better. I believe I tried to offer my first Robinson and I believe Ford. But OWM just wasn't about Ford. So we settled on the prospects and the other picks. I
didn't even know he was being shopped.
What?
I didn't even know he was out in the market. I didn't know.
Who?
Buckman.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought he said something of like all of his players players are available or something to that nature. And I chimed in and said, yeah, here's the baseline of what I would offer you. If that'll work, let me know. And he said, I'll get back to you tomorrow. And we hammered out the deal. But yeah, for his team, I really don't know what he did with those picks. But I think
LeBlanc
that
looks good, like an ace, possibly.
who?
LeBlanc,
LeBlanc.
that 6 overall pick. Look at him.
18-year-old righty.
I
Looks
think
like a
he
I
beast.
do like him. Yep. The home runs are a little bit concerning, but he is 18, so it's not that big of a deal. Again, kind of like the same thing with Ford. His movement is lower than his overall, so maybe that aided too. His numbers not looking as good.
I think the
But
home runs are going to be an issue with him. When you see a guy that has a 25%, when you see the guys on the extreme, especially when it's on the extreme low end of a ground ball percentage, that usually shows when it comes to the major league stats. So I'd be concerned about LeBlanc.
Or their
Yeah,
Lou Cook.
I guess a little bit, but with like power guys, Mogul always seems to not get that right. If they're a power pitcher, they always seem to have a low GB percent. So it could be something, it could not be. Even with those numbers, sometimes they can just be, they can look like dog shit, and the guy turns out great. I think like Mike Sandilands, he was a guy that in the majors rarely gave up homers, but his amateur numbers would have indicated the absolute opposite. Yeah, he is a pretty good guy to have. Argyle, I did like this guy. This is the guy who I was looking at, guy who I was actually trying to trade back in the second round for to maybe get. So those are some guys to build around. If he just keeps trying to sell off some of his pieces in the majors to get some more picks, some more prospects, he could really build something. Gil Cohen, that's another guy. I did like him a lot. I don't know if I liked him as much as taking a pick in the early first for him, but he's got some speed. He'll get some steals for you. I think that's one of those builds. His offense doesn't look great right now, but he's 18 years old, and if you project that out to him peaking out in the 80s, that'll look pretty good. And in the field, he'll be solid. He can play all three spots.
Yeah, so I like the combo of Cohen and LeBlanc. Houston, which is interesting how TT just kind of I'm guessing he thinks he's getting ahead of the curve there, and what he thinks is starting it right now. Basically opening up the league for evil to triumph. And so this draft was huge for him. He gave up a lot of assets. We'll see how they turn out. It's going to be years before. But what do you guys think of just basically how he kind of did about face and retooled this much this quickly? Maynard.
I think I don't know. I think he pulled the trigger too quick on his team. I thought his team was actually looking pretty decent, but I guess decent's not good enough. So in that sense, I agree. But I just want to see that team kind of gel a little bit more because they had a true ace. They had Hopez, who did he win an MVP? I thought he did. I know he didn't, but I thought they had good young pieces to kind of keep it going. And I don't know. I'm curious. I'm now curious to see when Javi Ramirez will be on the move.
I don't think he is.
I don't think he's going to keep him around.
I think he's going to keep him.
Yeah, I think he'll keep him around. I think Ryan is thinking of turning this thing around within 3 or 4 years and having him as part of it.
And also said that he punted for field position, so maybe that's what he was doing. Maybe he's trying to pin Mizzy at the 1 or fucking WP at the 1. I don't know, but I don't know. I did like his draft though. I was a big fan of him picking up Luca Carter from Texas.
Yeah, Luca Carter's a good player.
Yeah, I thought he picked up some good talent from the draft.
I
Whatever-
did not
from
realize how many
whatever I
draft
remember.
picks he had. My God.
I
It's
just
a typical misdraft.
Well,
yeah, I just don't know what this is all going to turn to.
I'll just say that I think if you're selling off assets and you're trying to you're trying to keep some as off limits, I don't think that's a really good strategy to have. I think if you're gonna sell off, everything should go, or they should at least be something that you'll think about dealing.
Matty, you just want Ramirez.
He
I
had
don't
him.
give a shit about it.
Or no, that's another guy.
Don't
You just
give
want
a
Ramirez.
shit. It's
You're
just the
telling
whole fact
TT,
of
open up the Ramirez, bring him to me. I'll give you Tim
I'll build
Ford.
everything. I mean, but yeah, if he wants to get a draft class for a guy, that'd be the guy that I'd be looking for. And if you want to
The most overrated trade is the draft class for stud.
Yeah. Well, people love it. Draft
No,
classes
I
are
know,
worth
I know,
a ton here.
I know.
It's because you get to make draft picks and you can get exactly what you want with every pick.
Jumps. Bobby jumps. Jumps.
What?
Jumps.
What's up?
Okay.
Jumps.
Jesus. All right. So, anything else on Houston before we go to?
But yeah, Matt, I agree. Why put a lock on a guy like Ramirez?
I don't think you have to put a lock on him. I think you.
Even though I know you're trying to get Ramirez from Houston. That has to be the case. Has to be the only case.
I do
Just
like the quick turnaround. I think if you do it right, I think we'll see how it goes. So, Oakland, the team that I always look at, didn't know any of these guys in the file. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It seems that they have a. And then Bob.
Like Bob
Okay.
Sunbury is a fucking stud that no one's ever heard of.
I didn't know about him until about 2 sims ago.
He sounds like an undrafted free agent.
He sounds like your neighbor. Then this third baseman, Frederick Aribi, he looks interesting. He's probably has a pretty, solid cap on how good he could be, but he's really good to be there for 10 years. And now
Aribi, the number one prospect in the league.
is he?
On
Oh.
my system, I think no, never mind. He's number 4.
That's still
He's
kind of
6
gross.
years old. He should be in the majors. What are you doing?
But you know what? I like that. What's his name? Who's the GM here?
Yep, that guy. He's good too.
Jacob.
Jacob. It's not Jacob. Shut up. Uncle Menz or whatever his name is. He said that he's going to rebuild, and he is. So good for him. That's all I got. Jesus.
He could pull in a nice haul for Pasternak at the closer. I'm sure someone would be all over that. He needs to get on. He needs to get on here and start shopping them.
Sundberg as well.
Ain't gonna happen though. Until he doesn't start trading in Jmaine.
What's up?
I'm saying he doesn't start trading until he.
We're losing you.
Yeah, no, you're in and out. That's why.
Oh, I gotcha. Anyways, anyone got any other exciting things on?
No, just trade off your best guys and keep accelerating that the young core.
All right, so OWM letting us know that his. And now we got Texas. Texas, I love War Priest. He's a great dude. And I love that he's in first place right now. And I love that he has a ton of guys having career years hitting wise. Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot of balls to just basically jump ahead on your rebuild this quickly. And because he saw an opportunity in the division. And so far it's turning out good. So this is the most intriguing division battle to me in the league this year.
Well,
I'm with you.
I'll start off
Yeah, go ahead.
just by saying that War Priest is War Priest, and he always befuddles me for what he does. And as this off season started out, I thought it was just another season for him. Then all of a sudden, he started kind of putting pieces together. Made the trade for Jeremy Wilson. I was like, okay, I see where he's going now. Got trottier, and yeah, I like the moves that he made. Yeah, it is a division that's kind of wide open, and it's interesting to see. However, he still has not sent me the Toadies beer, so that's the -1 for him.
Pete,
DB feels my pain.
I get what you're saying. No one else.
I don't know. I guess Texas is probably the most fascinating team story in the whole league. I mean, they've got all these old Atlanta players they brought in. They perfected doing the American Mike. I think that's what I'm getting at. They took American Mike and they one up to what he was doing, but they did it quickly and they did it precise and they're winning right away.
I don't know. I was a little puzzled, about all the big moves that WP made. I'm glad he did it. It's all great that he did it, but I just it wasn't they didn't really have the team to say like, oh, this is a winning team. This is a I have an opportunity here. Holy shit, GB. I'm gonna mute you. Okay. I'll bring him back in now. I just think this whole roster, the entire roster, is on like a 2-year contract. And then past those 2 years, like, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen. You got Priestley.
He's riding the wave though. He's riding it.
It's like, but like, all right, if you're gonna do like a 2-year window, I need the young guys to be stars. I need the young guys to be filling out other roles. We have like
Priestley's only 30 years old.
Sure, but then you have like guys like Hessen and Schmitz and Cooks and what the hell Remis is. Like, who are these guys?
He's got Terrence Dungy in center field. Come on.
Like I need like Matty's players who are young. And then you bring in the guys like Priestley and bring in the guys like Wilson and Trottier for like the 2-3 years. Because without them, you're still good. But with them, you could win a championship. It's like you had nothing, and then you brought in these guys, and it's like, okay, now we're going to win 85 games. But now it's just going to be like a 2-year thing, and these guys aren't going to have the same value in 2 years, 3 years, whatever. So, I don't know. It's nice to see, and I hope they win a division and some, but I just didn't see the reasoning to do all this. It's my take.
All right, so I mean, there's no other teams left to talk about, right?
Seattle. Oh, well, I mean, no, there's no more teams to talk about.
Oh yes.
Well, we need your take on Texas. Did you have a take on Texas, or?
No, I think he does jump the gun a lot. Rebuild, kind of his thing. But I'm not gonna knock a guy. Everyone wanting to that he sees an opportunity and he tries to take it. So good for him on that. Hopefully, he gets to the playoffs and it's all worthwhile. Because if it's not, then he kind of screwed himself, longer term. But that's pretty much it.
Last but not least.
Yeah, I'll say this, at least for Texas. In a league full of people who love the tank, at least there's a GM like War Priest who,
yes,
maybe even if it's not the best decision to try and go out and do something, he does it, and sometimes it pays off, like this season.
Yeah, trying to win, which we can't say that's a bad thing by any means.
No, absolutely not.
So, yeah, Seattle. I don't know why he's not playing Brian Manning all the time. But that's all I got. What do we think?
The mystery of Mizzy. I like his team, but I like the players that he could have had, and that's going to be the story of this team for a while. this team could win it all. This team could fall straight in his face. I'm curious to see how long Tom William will last. I'm curious to see all these ex-Atlanta players, how long they will last until they start losing their luster. They're a good team, but he's also put himself in a situation where he's put himself in a corner financially. You're running out of moves here. So personally, I think he should have stayed within the process of his young players and then add some veterans here and there without losing your good young players. But he didn't do that. So now he has to win with this group, and that's it. There's some players in the offensive side. Nomar Fernandez, Brando, cool. But we'll see where the team's at by then because they're going to just become that more expensive. They're not going to get any less expensive.
American Mike's style is so fun. Like, I love watching him maneuver. I love watching him make his moves. I have a feeling this is going to be the team that takes the West by the end of the year. They really do have a nice pitching staff. His team is complete. I know some would probably knock it as being a lot of pieces, but maybe not a complete thing. But I think these pieces are going to mesh by the end of the year. I think there's a lot of talent here. It's not the best team in the league by any means, but I think it's a good team. I think he's going to take the West.
Pete, you might take the West with.
No, I'm not going to take the West. I don't know what you're talking about.
If you put Washington in the West, I think you'd be competing.
Well, I'd try at least. I guess that's more than you can say about some people.
So
Washington State.
Washington State. Anyways. About your boy.
You cut out a lot, so I'm just going to start talking. Mizzy, he's a real interesting character, like Peter said. He'll have some guys like Jeff Smart and Paul Teets that I passed on, and he holds on to them like they're gold and they cannot move. And other players, seemingly he's wanting the trade before he's even accepted the trade on them before he actually got them. He's just really interesting. When you think he's gonna zig, he zags. He always keeps it interesting for us, and I'm guessing for his players too, because they obviously have no idea what the fuck's going on. You could be the next pitcher up, and hey, guess what? Tomorrow you're in Zimbabwe. You just don't know. You really don't know. It's interesting. But yeah, he does have a pretty good core talent. Yeah, I know I do give him a lot of shit on the chat for different stuff, but yeah. He knows what he's doing, I think. I don't know. I don't really know if he knows what he's doing. He just does it and just figures it out after that. I think that's really what he does. He makes a move and like, okay, well, now that's what I'm left with. Okay, I guess I'm going to do this now. He does have some pretty good prospects. We did talk a lot on the last draft, 2086, which a lot of people hated. I do think really looking back at that draft, I think the first top of that draft where he had basically 9 out of the first 8 picks. He did make out pretty well.
He had 9 out of the first 8 picks.
Yeah,
love it. That's a great
got the joke.
Line.
Good job.
It's a great fucking line.
But I think one of the mistakes that they made was sending Ian Dyer to Peter. That was almost like one of those deals of where, hey, I usually get someone to bite on the soggy all day sucker deal. So guess what? I'll give one back to someone else. Not sure why he would have given it up just for 1 year of Salazar, but yeah. I do think overall the team probably is better than Texas, at least in a 1 year run. At least it'll be interesting going down the stretch. It will be between those two teams. The only thing that sucks is it's sad that the season does not end with a Mariners and Rangers series because that would have been awesomely epic. But yeah, I mean the team looks like this now, but in a year from now, if we have a podcast again, the team could have 80 different players. That's what's just so epically awesome about Mizzy.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, if I was a fan of the Seattle Mariners in real life and I saw that Dyer trade, I would have like just punched the wall. I was so upset about that trade. He didn't have to do it. Kind of like the Baltimore trade. You don't need to spend the asset on a number 5 starter. What are we doing?
Right.
That's it's same idea. Same idea.
I mean, just saying. I bought Leon Ryan for $2 million in free agency.
Yeah. And Leon Ryan would be the same exact player.
Okay enough. Okay enough.
Yep.
Enough guy for the playoffs.
I mean, I guess he got lucky with the return that he got with the guy from New York now, Hudgens. Like you could have slotted him 5 and be okay with what he would have done, maybe. But he was lucky to get the assets fine, so I can't say he was wrong for that trade. But
yeah, but
you don't need to spend
down and get a good pitch prospect in Dan Page. So.
But my thing is, you don't need to spend an asset to get a guy who's not going to be useful in the postseason.
No,
if you're
really don't.
You don't, because that becomes a mop-up position, whatever. So,
but
load up on 3, get the good 4.
Really
So, that's that.
All right. Well, this has been way too long, and
it's supposed to be 1 hour, right?
I'm retiring from Poddom forever.
All right, we gotta finish it though with like a couple World Series, like champions from each league, and then like dark. All right, so I'll start.
Yeah.
So NL, I'm gonna say Arizona. It's real surprising.
No, it's pod over.
All right, relax. And then dark horse in the NL, I'll say Milwaukee. So don't cut me off.
Dark horse.
Fuck am I a dark horse in a CS last year?
Because Arizona
disrespectful.
That's why.
The dark horse is like the Mets right now. Sorry, Pete, I'm so sorry.
All right, AL. Obviously, I'm going to take the champs. I'll take Detroit. Dark horse, I'll take Seattle.
Who's winning?
Tell
I'll
us.
go Detroit again. I'm going to go Detroit again.
Oh, fuck. All right, I'll go next since Pete fucked me. I'm going to go NL. I'm going to say Milwaukee. And I'm not doing a dark horse. And in the AL, I'm going to go... I'll probably go with the Yankees. And the winner will be Milwaukee.
That'd be nice. So I guess I got set up. Okay. NL, I would love to say me, and I'm going to say me, so Milwaukee. But no, I honestly think the dark horse is the Mets. Yeah, they have superstar players, and every ingredient that you need for a playoff run. They just need 2 players. AL. Have not given this one much thought. I mean, the default choice is Detroit, and it's hard to say no to Detroit. Man. Yeah, it's gonna be Detroit. I want to say Montreal. I want to say Montreal has a pretty good chance. I just don't think they have enough. All right, if I'm gonna go power rankings of teams that have a chance in AL, it's gonna be Detroit 1, whatever, Minnesota 2, and then I'll say Montreal 3. So, but I don't think Minnesota has a chance because they'll have a really tough road. So I guess I'll say Minnesota is my dark horse for the AL. Marty.
Okay, yeah, like someone else said, whoever that was, fuck the dark horses. I'm gonna go with the hot takes for some teams that probably think that I dislike them. But just seeing how the playoffs happen and how their kind of luck happens in the playoffs and how shit rolls downhill. The World Series will be Florida and Montreal. We will have a Canadian World Series.
Well, one team's from Miami.
What? Yeah, well,
Florida's...
go fuck off. So whoever is the champion will eat some poutine.
That'd be nice. Live on camera.
Oh God.
That just sounds.
Live on camera with a low angle view, like up their nostril.
I feel like
bucket
this.
of poutine.
With the
5
microphone
gallon bucket,
really
eat it
like
all.
with the heads with like a freaking headphone, the one that Peter just bought, that exact copy.
Who's that little animal chained up? It's like, yeah. Remember what I'm talking about? Anyone watch Star Wars? No.
No one heard what you said. I don't think.
I'm gonna give kill for this. I've never seen a Star Wars movie.
I mean, I don't hate you for it. Doesn't help me in this discussion.
Like it's stoned
The Ewok? The Ewoks?
No, it's a little. Okay, fuck it. I'm
It's
done.
like it's like an owl-like bird. It's like a little
Yes,
owl thing. It's just like
that's
popping
correct.
out.
That's
Chewbacca?
how I imagine Canadian Mike with Hokey. Canadian
say I-
Mike is Jabba the Hutt, and Hokey is a little weird animal thing on a chain.
Ah,
Just
okay,
Google,
yeah.
Google image it. Google image it, and I'm done. You ruined it.
That is a good description.
Fucking
Thank
Marty.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's just what I think. I think you look at the team. Detroit seems to always get fucked in the playoffs. Hokie seems to be like slitherly lucky in the playoffs, whether he should be or not. So it just seems like moguls are probably gonna be like, well, Arizona has won so much, so fuck them. I'm gonna pick some random team, and it'll be Hokie.
Hokey's got to
Okay.
get past me. He has yet to beat me in FCM playoff history.
Well,
He
Law of
beat me
averages
in the World
says-
Series.
Law of averages will say that he will win one probably this year, but he's got to get through
seemed to
me.
be that when I was Colorado and he was Florida, no matter what happened, if I thought I had a clear better team, even if I jumped out to like a 3-0 lead, he would just clobber me, even in a 5-game series, and he'd still win in advance. Didn't seem to matter what the hell happened. So there's where
Very
why
sorry for that.
I'll be pissed off if Arizona wins.
Me too.
It's time for the torch to be, sent somewhere else.
Very poetic.
I don't know what to say. Hick, do something.
Hick is.
I need Arizona down. Anyway.
All right, let's just end this on a weird, quiet note of sadness.
This was fun.
It was fun. I learned that I can't pod anymore ever again.
Well, Peter's gonna have a nice little upgrade in a couple of days. So, all right,